Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the GOWEN Racing Podcast, episode number 30, coming your way today. As usual, you have myself, Gary Owen, and I am joined by my good friends of JayCook. Jay, how are we doing tonight on this fine Wednesday evening?
Doing really good. Um, Also happy with the result that we just had the last weekend at Indy. Aside from the couple of mishaps, but I was very happy with how with how this last weekend went down.
I'm surprised to hear that, considering DiBenedetto didn't win in a must-win situation. We have a lot of NASCAR stuff. Actually, not a lot, but just a lot to dive into today in our episode as well. We are joined by Matt O'Brien. Matt, how are we feeling? I saw you were doing NIS recently. I actually watched a little bit of it and saw you finish, what, P7, I think?
Yeah. Yeah. Machine sucks. You just run in a single file line. If you get out of line, it's like getting ditched in the plate track.
I wasn't surprised to see how your NIS race was going based off of what we watched last night with the eNASCAR
Yeah.
Coca-Cola
Yeah.
Series race, which we'll start with that today. Before we talk about real NASCAR, is they had the regular season finale last night for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series at Michigan. Last year, it was pretty crazy on the start of the runs, and it kind of got spread out here and there, and it was similar this time around. Other than it was a little bit different here and there. I think it was just with the drafting package.
All the
But
people saving gas.
yeah, there's a lot of fuel saving, and then of course in the last 30,
Quarter.
40 laps, everything went to crap as expected. A lot of crashes. Ray Alfala had a tremendous drive towards the front, got wrecked leading, and then tried to do it again, and then he couldn't quite pull it off. But Matt Busa ended up picking up the victory, which is his second career win. Apparently, I think they said his first one was Atlanta 2018. So almost, but yeah, 3 years since he's gone to victory lane in the Coca-Cola Series. But that added a lot of drama because um, there was, of course, the new format of how you get into the playoffs this year is win and you're in, and they only have 10 playoff spots. Which I know, Matt, you weren't watching with us last night. Jay and I were watching together. We were saying that it's surprising they only have 10 spots for a 40 car field and what is so competitive now. And I mean, we've had 13 different winners, I think, now in 14 races, or 14 winners in 15 races, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, eh, the only talking point I have, I guess, is do you think 10 playoff spots is enough, or should there be more? I'll start with you, Matt.
Shouldn't be winning and get in.
But do you still think there should be more than 10 spots?
Um, I don't know. I don't like if you're already 11th in points, do you really have a shot? I guess because everyone's so close, right?
Right.
Like, how many races have we done?
14 or 15?
What? I'm looking at the site right now because I want to get this right. Um, I want to see this. We have done 14, and the most top tens is 8. Grand Bowling, the points overall points, it only has 6 top tens. It's so close. So
Yeah, that just goes to show how competitive the series has gotten now. It's actually
yeah,
insane.
He would have
yeah.
missed the
So
playoffs if he didn't win at Watkins Glen, because the regular season champion does not get in without a win in Coca-Cola.
wow, wow, that's brutal. Man, that would feel so wrong.
It would, but thankfully he was able
Uh
to.
I mean, I personally feel like the win and get in the Coke series is the right way
Dumb.
to do it, just with how close it is. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna have win and get in, I guess it's hard because it's like you only do one round, right? Of the
Hmm.
elimination thing. So I think ten's a fine number. It's just win and get in
Winning
is just
in
bad.
makes sense for that series if they expand the playoffs. But
Yes.
with it how it is at the current moment, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, obviously we talked about it ourselves last night. With the win and you're in, it's definitely makes more sense to have more spots. But if there wasn't a win and you're in, 10's okay. And Matt mentioned how few races there really are in the playoffs as well. You really wouldn't be able to do a good elimination style format, anyways, unless you add more events, which I'm hoping they do. I want more events in this series next year. But Busa won. I think I'm not 100% sure. Is there a playoff grid out there? Because I don't know. Did Lutza get
I haven't
eliminated
seen
or
one.
not?
Yeah, Lutza's out.
Yeah,
Lutza got
Okay.
he's
eliminated because
eliminated.
of it.
That's wild there
He
to think
was
that
in
Busa got him.
if
He's
there was no
19th
new
in
winner.
points. Yeah. If there was no new winner, he would have. Fine.
So a defending champion out misses the playoffs. Alfala misses again for the third year
Ottinger.
in a row, I think. Yeah, Ottinger never. Yeah, like what's with the
Well,
deal with
he
winning a championship and then just deciding to retire?
Well, I mean, I guess Ottinger has been pretty quiet this season, but like he was up front and then his internet went out or something.
Yeah, he lost connection pretty early.
A tragedy.
A storm went through the North
Yeah.
Carolina or Charlotte area.
The thing is, like, okay, he finished basically dead last, right?
Yeah.
Man, it just feels so wrong that like these people that like I don't know. I just don't like the one it end with the how Coke is.
I agree. I don't think it should be a thing. I don't think winning your end should be a thing in normal, real NASCAR either. So,
Yeah, I agree.
But the playoffs will be starting. I don't know what track is the first.
Darlington, I think.
Oh, that'll be interesting. First playoff race at
Darlington, Bristol, and then oh my god, Talladega's the cutoff.
Oh.
Oh my god. It's Darlington, Bristol, Dega. Oh my god.
And is the finale at Phoenix this year, or are they doing Homestead again?
Texas.
Oh.
Texas.
I remember. I remember when we talked about it at the beginning of the year. Now we were like,
Yeah,
"What the heck are they doing?"
Yeah.
Come on, iRacing. Who the heck thought of that? Well, I guess it's probably how it lines up.
It lines up with the real schedule, I assume.
October 12th.
Well, no, because Texas is no longer on the.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, did we? Oh, wait, no, we only did the All-Star race. That's right. I was thinking we already did Texas, but that was just for the All-Star race. Oh God, another race there still. Lovely. Yeah. Speaking of
500 miles of the torture.
Yes, that race in specific always brings back terrible memories. So, Brad Keselowski, no comment. Real NASCAR was on this weekend. I think we got a lot to talk about today for that. And that was NASCAR at the Indianapolis road course. We're going to start off calm with the Xfinity race. I only saw a little bit of it. I think I legitimately can't remember much other than Austin Cindric winning the thing. Jay, you seem to watch more of the Xfinity races. Did you see a bunch of it at all?
Actually, no, I didn't. I didn't watch
well, something in this race also affected Sunday.
Well, the orange curb. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's they all that left little curb. That's like, why is it there in the first place? Over to the left side of turn 6 on that runoff area. Obviously, NASCAR doesn't want people abusing the track limits, but with the way NASCAR is, it was in an area where drivers are going to use and get away with, but they put it there anyway.
That's also like their argument. If they don't want drivers abusing track limits, I find that argument extremely like stupid and pointless, because NASCAR doesn't really have track limits. They don't have necessarily, they have penalties for completely cutting the course, but they don't necessarily have actual track limits and like go over with the drivers. You can't go outside of this line and all this kind of stuff. Like I found that argument for NASCAR using those really dumb. Now the one to the inside, they definitely did need to use that, and they stated their reasoning for that one, so that made sense. But the one on the outside, just to avoid them hitting the grass. Okay, well then the grass can be what avoids them from hitting the grass, not a yellow thing that's going to send you flying into the air that you can't avoid because it's on the outside where your car is going to go.
And that's what happened
on
lap 1.
From them is really stupid.
Harrison Burton, I think Brandon Jones.
A whole bunch of them.
Yeah, a whole bunch of cars hit this.
Harvick, Brandon Brown.
Harvick had a fun
Yeah.
weekend. But a whole bunch of these guys hit this yellow curb and go up in the air, destroy their
They hit the
cars.
heat.
Their race is over pretty much. And
Well, Harrison Burton finished 9th.
I think he was like the only one that continued and did something. I know like Harvick, I don't know if they got him back out on track or not. I think I actually watched the whole race because I watched that part live because I was home for it. So I must have watched it all. I just completely forgot about it.
It started by the time you were home, so you probably did.
Yeah. But that happened. There was a car that hit the inside curb, the turtle kind of thing, in turn 6, and went flying up in the air. He did like a big old wheelie, and I don't even know who it was, some dude. And that was really the talking point of the whole race. I mean, Sunday they were still showing that. They're like, look at this guy yesterday that went up in the air.
Little did we know.
It was about to get even better. But Cindric wins the race, so congrats to him. That's his, third or fourth win, I think. Fifth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, he's impressed me a lot coming from, I think I've talked about it before, but someone that comes from a road racing background has done really good. He's improved drastically on oval racing. I respect it. I don't think
next
he
year
impressed
is
a lot
gonna
Cup
be
yet.
Next year is gonna be a snooze
Yeah,
fest.
who are they gonna have?
Ty Gibbs killing everybody.
Oh yeah.
But Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger.
I'm calling it now. Ty Gibbs will only win 2 or 3 races.
You're insane.
What other competition is he gonna have?
I understand. This has happened before, where someone will get into the part-time ride for a top-tier car like JGR, JRM, tear it up, win a bunch. Full-time ride, don't do nearly as well.
Who was the last one to do that?
I can't even remember.
and your argument is now invalid.
I'm telling you though, it's happened because I've been thinking that the whole year. I'm like, this is gonna happen again. Mark my words. August 18th, 2021, 7:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ty Gibbs wins 3 or less. 3 or less races Ty Gibbs wins in Xfinity next season.
He's already won 3 this year.
I'm well aware.
Who's his competition?
Like 4 races.
He's got to watch out.
What is his competition?
Ryan Sieg.
Ty Gibbs is ahead of him in points.
Sieg.
Justin Allgaier.
Speaking of Ryan Sieg.
Lol.
Did I miss something?
I guess you did.
Oh, his crew chief got, yeah.
He got suspended, but then not only did he get suspended, the team was like, nah, you're done, and fired him afterwards.
Oh. Rip.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I guess he did something.
Shane Wilson.
Actually bad.
He used to be I think it was with Boyer for chief, right? I think it was with Boyer in the 33 car like a decade ago.
Yeah, he's been around the sport for a while, so that's.
Now he's getting fired from a low-tier Xfinity team.
Okay, I wouldn't call them low-tier, but they're not high-tier Xfinity either.
Okay, mid-tier.
For what they're working with, and for what Ryan Sieg and I think his brother as well. I'm pretty sure his brother's with him. For what they have, they perform extremely well.
So yeah, Cindric won the race, and then that leads us to the Cup race, and that's of course a lot to talk about. Before we dive into it, I want to hear your thoughts on the overall racing, not counting the finish, which we'll dive into plenty, but the actual racing I thought was pretty good. Jay, what did you think of the overall racing product at Indianapolis?
So much better than the oval. It was just once again another road course that I enjoyed this year, and I think every single road course race has been an enjoyable race and some of the best racing this entire season. And that race was just it was wild. I remember watching the Xfinity race and seeing how the restarts were, especially, and just knowing going into the Cup Series race, okay, this is probably going to be wild, and it was. There was lots of passing, lots of really big moves made into turn 1 off of restarts. and it was just really fantastic racing that I enjoyed a lot. Um, and then we got towards the end of the race, and the mega chaos started happening.
which was something else. um,
Yeah,
Matt, what did you think of
certainly
the
didn't ruin
actual?
the race, but
Well,
it,
no,
it made
I
for some
don't think it ruined
clamoring.
it. Yeah. Matt, what did you think
For,
of the racing?
ooh,
I thought it was better than the oval, but probably yeah, it was good. I mean, it was better than the oval. So
I put it top 5 of the year for me again, like Watkins Glen, just because I mean there was a lot of passing going on. I mean they had a lot of passing zones that were set up really well, and I mean it's just overall good racing.
there was just about everything you want in a race. There was still some like spins and crashes. There was still some drama involved. There was nice passing and great racing going on. There was strategy involved, which I mean we get at all road courses now because of stage breaks, but still there the strategy is still there, and it at least makes it somewhat interesting to follow along with, and see some guys have to come through the field if they catch an untimely caution, or just wind up with a strategy that puts them in the back of the field for a restart. So it had pretty much everything you want in a race, and then towards the end it got a little bit out of what you want to see.
Um, so first of all, everyone was not happy that we were going to the road course. Like,
not
well, not
everyone.
everyone, but
Yeah, that was
the
that was a
loud,
specific few.
yeah, the loud negative majority on Twitter were not happy that we were going
Oh,
to
I
the
thought
road
we were talking
course.
about drivers.
There
Oh,
was
there's
Because there
drivers
was
as
drivers.
well that were very
oh
unhappy.
boy,
Harvick.
Kevin
oh
Harvick.
Har-
Harvick, goodness
Kevin
gracious.
Boomer Harvick, same guy that whined about the rain. Um, that was not surprising. I knew he was going to be complaining all weekend long. That's why I found it hilarious. He wrecked in both races. Keselowski's little post after, he's like, "I'm ready for some oval racing."
Well,
I was
I
like, "You're
truly
gonna
don't think
crash
that
on
was
the
anything
ovals
about
too,
the road
bro."
course. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that was anything to do with the road course anymore. I thought it was at first, and then actually thought about it. I was like,
He's
wait,
had
he's
two rough weeks.
yeah, he's just ready to get back to
Well,
oval
he's
racing
been
where he's
bad on
just
all road
better
courses.
this season.
Um, but yeah, I mean, drivers are vocal, and then everyone's like, "Well, the oval's better." We haven't even seen a race on the road course at this point. They're like, "The oval's better." I mean, they're like, "The oval's put on great races at Indianapolis. You cannot go back."
15, 20 years ago,
Yes, since I've
we've had
started
like two
watching.
great finishes the last 5 years, but the rest of those races were awful. Like
Uh,
even before those great finishes, the actual like whole entire
yes,
race was terrible.
everyone always talks about I think 2017 when Kyle Busch and Truex wrecked each other.
You mean the race where Kyle Busch was dominating and leading
Yeah.
everything, and then a late race restart caused some chaos, and it made
Uh
everybody
huh.
think the race was amazing?
The race was horrendous. They wrecked each other and it got good. And what's funny about this is the end of that race turned into a clown show that we saw at the road course. But apparently, because it was on the oval, that's actually good. But when that happens on a road course, it's just embarrassing for
I
NASCAR.
think I think this was one of the first. It was the first
Mhm.
time they'd been to that track, and IndyCar obviously, or not IndyCar, sorry, Indianapolis. They kind of screwed up with the curbs, but it's the first time NASCAR's been to that track, so obviously they're gonna next time they come there, things will be different. But we've been how many ovals have we seen where, especially Daytona and Talladega, where races turn into that and they get even worse than what we just saw on Sunday? But you never see anybody clowning NASCAR like they did on this Sunday. I mean, people still clown NASCAR and say, your decisions were dumb and things, but the just overall negative response on Sunday was the most overwhelming thing I've seen. I mean, everything was complained about, and it literally I had to get off Twitter. That was one of the first times I've ever just had to get off Twitter because I couldn't stand what I was looking at. It was
Well,
awful.
the last time I looked at Jeff Gluck's poll for the race, 40% had said the race was not good. And I was like, you guys are
So
stupid as
here's something.
crap.
Here, you want to know? So out of the last 6 Indianapolis races, what position do you think the road
I,
course finished?
I think I saw it was like fifth.
Yes, it was 5th.
Yeah, if
That's ridiculous.
you like that
That
was
is ridiculous.
the best Indianapolis race I have ever seen. Without the clownery at the end, hands down the best one. The ovals, the last 5-6
slog.
years have been 130, 140 laps of just nothing, and then maybe
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 laps. Oh, some stuff happens. Oh, and everyone's like, oh, the last 10% of that race was really good, therefore the whole thing was good. No.
And the argument for, oh, it's not as prestigious, it hasn't been prestigious for like 15 years now. It was only huge for the first 10 or so years of it
You want to
running.
know when it wasn't prestigious anymore? 2008.
The
Yeah, it
tire
was
thing.
no longer the Brickyard 400 huge, massive win that we've seen. Even the Coke 600 or Darlington 500 is not that huge crown jewel. I mean, they're still crown jewels and they're still huge races you want to win, but they're not the massive weight they used to carry 15, 20 years ago. They're
I
not
think
those same races
Darlington's got
anymore.
it back.
Yeah, Darlington's kind of had a resurgence a little bit, but
Honestly, like obviously the Daytona 500 is like the big one. Honestly, I'd put Darlington second at this point.
Yeah, I would as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Darlington 500 or Southern 500, sorry, is still a big prestigious race. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't carry the crown jewels are not as huge and massive. And oh my God, they're crown jewel races. 10 million people are going to tune into this thing because there's one special race on the schedule. No, it's truly, especially the spectators now, it's truly just another race on the schedule.
That's how I look at it.
And exactly. And so, I mean, the Daytona 500 is truly the only one left now where everybody's like, okay, this is a huge, massive race. This doesn't, it doesn't feel like a season race. It just feels like it's its own standalone thing. Everybody cares about the Daytona 500, and then the schedule moves on. So, I
Yep.
mean, people arguing for this race being so prestigious and a crown jewel and stuff, no. It's
haven't-
not anymore. It's a win at Indy, no matter what, on a road course or oval, is still going to be a win in Indianapolis. It doesn't mean that it's any less just because you had to make right and left turns instead of just all left.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, crown jewel or not, if you can't put on a good race in over a decade, be gone. Like, get off the schedule. That's why NASCAR changed it to a road course. They haven't done a good thing in a decade.
The thing as well is everybody complains about how boring this package is and how boring these races can be and stuff. Yet they want the probably most boring race on the schedule to constantly be there year in and year out and just constantly be 400 miles of nothing. Well, okay, probably 390 miles of nothing, and then the last 10 miles are, oh, we might get a really exciting finish, we might not, depending on if there's a caution. So I
Right.
mean, like, I don't understand how people can be clamoring for boring races and boring packages, and then want this race, the most boring of them all, no matter what packages ran there, to stay. I don't get it. It's dumb. The road course is much better. We had a fantastic race up until the last little bit started happening.
5 laps.
It's so much better than we've had there the last 10 years. You can take all the last 10 years combined, and it would not beat out what we had this Sunday. It's just the road course is much better than the oval.
One thing I want to bring up before we dive into the race, because I know I'll forget it if I don't bring it up now. William Byron was talking about the next gen car with road course racing, and I had brought up something like the same thing earlier in the year. How I was like thinking this could be what happens, and he kind of brought up the same thing. Was he thinks it's going to get a lot more spread out at road courses and not be as like crazy anymore because the next gen car is going to be easier to drive at road courses. And that I was like, I feel like the almost spectacle of NASCAR road course racing could kind of be gone after this year.
Yeah, he does have a point. Somebody else, I think it was on Race Hub or sometime when Fox still had coverage, they brought up the point that the spectacle and the enjoyment of watching NASCAR, especially road courses, comes from how hard these cars are to drive at them because they're not meant for road course racing. They are huge, heavy cars that we put on road courses and tell them to go run 80 laps on a road course and just beat and bang it out and all this kind of stuff. So they're heavy cars going around those tracks that are designed for light F1 cars, Indy cars, GT cars, what have you, to go around there. And we bring heavy stock cars to it. And so yeah, there is a good point there that probably is what not necessarily what makes these races interesting, but it certainly does keep them a lot closer together, and certainly does put that put that excitement factor there. So I do kind of agree with you on that it might get a little bit more boring and a little bit more stale if since these cars are going to be easier to drive or more suited to drive road courses than in previous years.
Which is disappointing because I feel like right now we're like at the pinnacle of NASCAR road racing.
Oh
Like,
yes,
it
very
is
much
so
These
good.
cars are fantastic for road courses, and it's because they're not built for road courses.
So that's a little bit unfortunate. Hopefully they still put on great races next year on the road courses. I mean, and everywhere, of course. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. We still don't even know the schedule yet for next year.
Coming. It's late August or early September. But there was one piece of news today about the schedule.
Did they say if there's more road courses?
No, it's nothing big. It's just the date of Auto Club.
What about it?
February 27th.
So they are running one more race there before they tear it up?
Yep.
Okay. Now is
So,
that track
the
going to be
five-
ready in
essentially
2023?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently.
Okay.
So essentially, that probably means that it'll be the second race of the season again,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless
Because
they are
I
starting
think the
season
well,
early, which is not true.
no, I mean they already announced the Daytona 500 date, right?
Oh, did they? Okay. Yeah, that duh. Of course they have.
2022 Daytona, and I believe it's the 20. Yeah, the 20th. So yeah, it's the second race of the season.
Okay.
So
yeah.
what's happening with the road course?
I mean,
You
Daytona
can't
road course-
have that race this year and decide to take it off the schedule. That was incredible.
Well, Gary, here's the thing. The Daytona road course was a replacement race for Auto Club.
Yeah, but
It
you
was
can't
never
have
meant to be
a
on the schedule.
you can't have a race that's miles better than your average Auto Club race and say, you know what, let's put Auto Club back in its place. Like Auto Club hasn't done anything good in 5 or 6 years either. I think 2013 was the last. Well, 2015 was pretty good too, but since
I mean,
then,
2013 is one of the 2013's Auto Club race is one of the best races ever.
yeah, that was a great one. And then after that, it
Yeah.
kind of
I
went
mean,
down.
it has
down,
the
down,
Atlanta
down.
problem. It's the Atlanta problem. It's too
It
damn
really is,
holes.
yeah.
But,
I don't know how to feel about that one if they're getting rid of the Daytona road course. I'm not too sure.
I mean, it's probably gonna be the Clash still.
yeah.
Yeah, but I want a points race. Daytona
Yeah,
Road Course is one of my favorite
I honestly don't
racetracks.
think-
So
I love the road
I don't
cour-
think you're getting
or-
it.
I love the Daytona road course, but of the road courses we have now, I think the top two that I would be fine with going away is the Daytona road course and then the Indy road course, and that's just because I'd rather have them go away from Indianapolis.
I'd
in
say
general and go to,
Sonoma.
like IRP or something.
I'd get rid of
No,
Sonoma.
I think Sonoma is still one of the better road courses we go to. Honestly,
I feel like that's the
I
thought-
least dramatic one.
yeah, I guess that's true. It probably does have the least. It probably does have the capabilities.
Well,
to be
I
the
think
least
the
dramatic,
reason
but
I think
it's
the big
still-
issue with Sonoma, I mean,
I know. I
stages
think I know what
suck.
you're gonna say. Yeah, exactly. Stages
Sonoma-
stages have ruined that race until this year. Stages
Sono-
have ruined it.
And I think it was just luck this year that it was just.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
here's
For some
the
reason,
thing.
go.
this year, all like
Here's the thing
stages-
with Sonoma, it has the most tire fall off of all the road courses. But how the
by
stages are
far.
placed, it doesn't. There's no strategy to be played.
Although
That's-
they
it-
tried it
that's
this year.
They try. Like, here's the thing. Let's say somehow we had a caution-free Sonoma race. Every lap went green. There's no stages. How many pit stops do you make?
2.
No.
How many laps is it? Oh, I'm thinking I'm doing like a
I think you
50%
make
90.
there.
3. I'm pretty sure you make 3.
It's 90.
3,
You can't do it in 2 stops, I think.
yeah, 3 is usually
But here's-
because I remember the strategy before was it was either 3 if you wanted to stretch it and then do 4 if you didn't, or 3 and then 2 if you wanted to stretch it. I can't remember what it used to
Yeah.
be, but it was something
Well,
like that.
But the tire fall off so big that the entire race went green. I shit you not, because the tire fall off is so massive. A 5-stop strategy could do well.
I still
If the
think
tire fall off is 4 to 5 seconds almost.
I think road courses just do stages without the caution.
Yeah,
think-
I agree. I genuinely agree that stage caution.
It's not the
just needs to go away
stages;
road
it's the
courses.
caution. That's the
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I'd be fine with them getting rid of all the stage cautions.
Even I think it depends. I think I'd do it away with it at road courses and plate tracks, because plate tracks it causes the risk of wiping out the field, which has happened a few odd occasions on the
Yeah.
final lap of a stage. But I think on your normal mile and a
Well,
half,
I
throw the
don't think
caution.
that changes.
I don't think that would affect anything at Talladega or Daytona.
Well, yeah, you're right, 'cause
you
they're gonna
don't
get
wanna
up
be
there and
going
go,
for the
yeah.
points.
But
Yeah,
you want to know?
sure.
You want to know what I know? It's also would be interesting for me. Like at a mile and a half that doesn't have any stage. Let's say there's no stage breaks. So I think mile and a half stages are what, usually like 80 laps at the start.
Around there, yeah.
But obviously they split it up in 40 laps, right?
Yep.
But you can go 60 almost.
Yep.
So let's say they didn't have those cautions. Do you risk, pitting a big time to get those stage points by the time the stage ends? But you might hamper yourself later in the race because you have to pit earlier and stuff. I think it would be interesting.
It
I've
would
got-
be.
I've got two scenarios or two
'Cause-
ways NASCAR could do it that I want to just like bring up and get your guys' opinions on. So they could either do it where they still have the 3 stages, but then there's no stage caution after stage 2, but they do have one after stage 2, or they just do the first stage, like they split the race up in halves, so they have still three stages, no cautions. Actually, no, I guess it would still be the same idea. Just make the halfway point the end of stage 2, throw caution there, and then have basically you have a halfway point caution, and then so you'd have the first half of the race and then the second half of the race. Um, so I mean, I don't know
Like a halftime.
if that's something NASCAR. Yeah, I don't know if that's something NASCAR would look into, but I think that would be a better way to do it than the way they're doing it now. Who knows? They could try it and it fails terribly, and it actually is a
Yeah.
terrible thing to do. But just to me, having like the first 2 stages be the first half of the race, and then the third stage the last half, and there be one caution at the halfway point after stage 2. That to me sounds better than what they're currently doing.
My biggest issue is they claim, oh, it offers various strategies. There is no strategy. There
Well,
is
no, not anymore. Now that everyone has it figured
Yeah,
out.
that too. I
Like-
mean, technically it does, but also it doesn't really, because
It-
the only person who's going to go with the strategy of staying out is someone in 20th place, really hoping for a timely caution.
Yeah. And the only reason they're doing that is because they know there's a stage. Right.
Now, and also too, if they want to say it offers various cautions, they can't make the stage go longer than they can a fuel run. So if you want to offer various cautions, let's say a fuel run in Atlanta is 60
Cautions?
laps, make the
Strategy, she
stage
means.
60 laps. I mean, yeah, sorry, strategy. If you want to have various strategies, then have a stage caution be after 60 laps, which is how far they can go on a run. Let's say in Atlanta. So I mean, you can't say that you want to offer various strategies, but then still like require a pit stop in stage 1, because then the obvious thing is going to be split in half, and nobody else is going to try anything different because it's going to screw them over if they don't get that caution they're looking for.
That's how it is right now, though. And like, there's nothing like anyone can do because it's like this is how it is every week.
Yeah. I mean,
Michigan is a little different.
restarts
with-
will be good.
Like Michigan's one of those oddballs where if you are the leader, you can't stay on the lead lap by taking like fuel only or something. But
I see personally the reason why I don't want them to get rid of the cautions at all tracks is just because I like that there's a guaranteed caution.
I
to at least
agree.
Kind of make things interesting.
Yes.
That's the reason I enjoy the stage cautions, but I do agree that they should find a better place or a better way to do it, because it does kind of take the strategy out of it. At least
and
for
like
the
even
first 2 stages.
play races aren't the same in the first half, man. It's so spread out because all the manufacturers pit together, and everyone's like, we're doing these different strategies, and it's just like 3 single five.
To be fair, I think that would happen to those tracks no matter what, just because different strategies play out. People don't want to wreck before the end of the race, so I'm not sure that stage races.
No,
really
what I'm
affects
saying,
that much.
what I'm saying
Daytona and
is,
Talladega.
like we've seen this year, like let's say the 500, the Chevys pit on lap 20 of a stage, and then the Fords will pit at the very end. So there's just 2 giant single file lines, in
Yeah,
completely different parts of the track,
but-
and it's just, you're just like,
Yeah, I mean the manufacturer stuff has gotten out of hand, but again, I'm not too sure if that's a stage thing. I think that's just a.
it is a stage thing.
I don't know. I'm not
If
sure.
there
I
was
agree
no
with that.
caution, why would you pit early at a plate track?
Yeah, but they're still going to pit together as a manufacturer.
Yeah, there's
It's not
exactly,
changing
the issue
the
goes
outcome.
from lap 20 to now lap 40. The same
Yeah,
thing's
but here's
happening.
the thing: a plate race field run is 40 laps, right? All right, the Daytona, the Daytona race in a couple weeks is a 160 lap race, and your field window is 40 laps. Let's say there was no stage cautions. 40, 40, 40. You pit 3 times. Why would you do anything different?
Stage points.
But how would you get stage points?
I'm not a strategist. I can't help you there.
Hang on, let me.
In my opinion, is like at a plate track, I don't really care much because I'm like, they're gonna pit together anyways, just because they're doing it earlier because of stages.
I'd rather
Is
have
that
all
going?
40 of them
Yeah,
pit
but
together at once.
I mean, I'm like, if without the stages, manufacturers are gonna pit together anyways. It's the safest
Yeah,
way to keep
without the
yourselves
stages,
clean.
It'll
But
then
when
move
would
from
you
happening on
pit?
lap 20 to happening on lap
They're gonna pit
35.
at a different
That's
time, but they're not all gonna pit in a
it'll
40
still
car
happen the
pack.
same way.
Yeah, and
It'll
just
still do the same
because
exact thing.
exactly, just because they're pitting earlier doesn't mean it's gonna change what's happening in this race because they're gonna do the same thing without the stages.
Manufacturer stuff went away there for a while. I think just because teams didn't really care about it much anymore. And then all of a sudden, within the last couple of years, like Chevy's found a way to work together and be extremely fast. And then so the Fords were like, all right, we got to do it. And then the Fords were extremely, extremely faster than everybody else. And then the Toyotas were like, all right, well, we have so few of us, and the Fords are monsters, so let's work with the Chevys, or just be by ourselves if we have to, because we don't want to help the Fords out.
That hurt
And
them in
so
the
now it's
500.
just yeah. Yeah, it really did. And so now it's just turned into a game of manufacturers again. And personally, I think that's terrible. Everybody says they love it. I hate manufacturer racing. That's a whole nother topic, but I can't stand it. I hate it when they move
I'd
the
be like
track.
the worst driver in that because
Oh,
like
so would I. I completely ignore it.
I want to win the race. Let me go. Like I don't care about
Yeah,
working with
I'd
a
ignore it and do
manufacturer.
whatever I thght was going to get me the win, not
All right.
not working with somebody just because they drive the same
There
car as me.
there's an example back in 2011. I remember Trevor Bayne
Yeah.
in that fall race abandoned Jeff Gordon because he was told he cannot work with a Chevrolet car because he's a Ford. They said leave him. That was such a disrespectful
And
move, but
Trevor
he
was
felt
trying to
terrible.
pay Jeff back for the
Yeah.
500 and couldn't because they were like, nah, bruh. And Trevor, I mean, I guess he was technically a rookie for the team and didn't want to lose his ride, so I can see why he
Mhm.
went along with what they said. But yeah, I remember hearing about that, and I did not like it.
I mean, also I'm gonna say it, and like the lower series stages are terrible because they're too short.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just the races are short. Not much we can do
Well,
about it.
well, like
Do the truck series even need stages?
No, they really don't.
literally.
That's
Like-
the one where I'm like, we don't need stages in trucks. And
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Xfinity
Xfinity, you
series
can
is
get away
okay
with it,
for
but
The trucks, no, the trucks
But, like-
is bad.
Like Talladega stages are 20 laps,
yeah.
and hey, trucks the lower series strategy.
Well, they wreck before they even get close to the stage break. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's beside, but you get the point. It's like there's no strategy in the Xfinity.
yeah.
trucks.
I mean, I've
they're
never
so
even
short.
looked at trucks even without stages. I'm like, I never really expect strategy to really be a big factor.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of time on that topic. Let's move into the actual race that we watched.
Uh-huh.
Stage 1 and 2, I actually missed. I saw all the highlights I needed. So, but Tyler Reddick, I think he won the stages, right?
He won both stages.
Off
by
of
staying out.
off of the stage strategy at road courses.
Here
But Kyle
comes
Larson,
The
Jeff.
guy, and unfortunately for Reddick, the guy he was trying to beat in points, Austin Dillon, finished right behind him both times. He gained 2 spots on him in stage 1 and then 1 spot on him in stage 2.
fitness
so,
way behind him in the actual race,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about very very shortly. But Larson was just dominant at the Indianapolis road course, just like he was at Watkins Glen, at Sonoma. Really giving Chase Elliott some competition at these road courses. But Brad Keselowski, he binned it in the outside wall out of Oval 1. I didn't actually see how it happened, but
So what
I did.
happened? So he stayed out at the end of stage 1. So he was on old tires trying to just survive to some weird window, I guess. But and then he was just trying too hard, I guess.
Oh, so he wrecked himself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wrecked himself coming back onto the oval.
Nice. Well, I mean, he's wrecked himself quite a few times at the road courses.
He's ready for an oval. He's ready to go back.
He gets his home track to go back to. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good racing, a lot of action, some spins and whatnot. Didn't Logano go around or almost go around or something?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe that he did spin.
He almost took out Larson. Like he clipped his back bumper when he was like going around.
I kind of remember that happening. I can't remember if it was like a Kurt Busch situation where he went way too. No, I think it was a Kurt Busch situation where he went way too hot in the corner and almost hit Larson trying to get slowed down. I think that's what happened. I can't I can't exactly recall, but I know something did happen with him before all the chaos at the end.
And then so Reddick won the first two stages. Stage 3 was fairly calm. The 14 at Briscoe kept missing like the same turn. And like flat spotted his tires. He had to pit like 2 times. He was doing decent beforehand, but he just like missed the same turn like out of oval 2. Like I don't know how many times. And missed it on the end too, but so
I just want to
go ahead.
go ahead and finish
Okay.
your thing, but I want to bring something up in a moment.
So he was way off. He was like, I don't know how far back. And then a caution comes up with 5 laps to go. And he gets.
It was like. It was.
Was it? No, I think it was like 7 or 8, actually. 8, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 9
but,
to go. There was debris in the ship.
Yes. So.
Actual debris.
Yeah, it was real. Briscoe like gets gifted for screwing up all day, basically. And so he's in the mix. And then Jay, what did you have to say?
I just want to go back to stage 2 real quick and just talk about the clownery that is Christopher Bell.
I did not see this, so yeah, I want to hear about this.
My man goes on a whole tangent all week about roasting Kyle Larson and all this kind of stuff, and just like, saying that it was stupid he went to go crying to the media and all this stuff, and it was something I'd gotten over and all this. And then he goes into the road course and full sends the corner. And of course, I'm mad about it because it's my driver, but he full sends the corner and completely cleans out De Benedetto and just it pushes him into the grass, and then decides to turn left on him again and keep him in the grass. And it's just like, dude, what are you doing? You talked all this smack all week long, and then you go and do basically the exact same thing Larson did and full send this guy and ruin his race. I mean, it completely destroyed De Benedetto's car, and he had no chance for the rest of the race. Every single time I'm like, all right, he's restarting up here in 4th. Let's see if something happens. By the time they're in gear 3, he's 3 car lengths behind everybody else because he's so damn slow. It was just, it made me so mad.
Bell was salty all week long, and I was just like, what are you like so caught up over this for, dude? Like,
hey, I got an idea. He sees Ty Gibbs in the Xfinity Series already. He's already on the hot seat.
Yeah. He
hasn't won 10 races with Joe Gibbs already. He's already on the hot seat.
Yeah, he knows that Joe Gibbs' reputation.
And Hamlin signed for a few more years, so.
I mean, Truex, Hamlin, and Busch are there till they decide to leave.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. It's the 20 car. Whoever drives that thing is always the one at risk.
Yep.
From Logano to Kenseth to then Suarez had his little stint there in the 19. Then to now Bell.
Although personally, I think the Ty Gibbs will wind up taking over the 19 when Truex retires.
Yeah, I think it's gonna line up that way. That's how I see it. I think Gibbs will do 2 years in Xfinity full time, and then Truex will be like, all right, I'm hanging it up.
But like, what if he goes out and wins like 12 races? What are you gonna do? Keep him
I'd
there
still keep him there.
He's gonna be 19 next year. So I mean, I still think it'd be way too young to put.
Yeah,
in the Cup
he's
Series,
really
no
young.
matter how well he does,
and that he's really young and getting a
also,
full-time ride. This is a huge chance for him.
Unless he starts seeing a lot of Cup competition and still beats those guys every week, then I still think that even if he wins 12 races, you got to look at the field, the competition he's going to have next year, and it's not incredibly strong. It's not full of guys who have promising Cup careers. So I mean, even if he wins 12 races, you can't say that he's ready for Cup.
I can't name a single prospect other than him that's going to be there.
Maybe Zane Smith, depending on if he gets a ride or not. Sam Mayer, maybe. Those are like.
Has he done anything?
Won a truck race.
Sam Mayer?
Yeah, he won a truck race at Bristol last year, and people were like, "This is God."
I also don't think he's had that many starts to do anything. To be honest, I think he's had.
He's done Xfinity. That's right. Oh yeah, he had a bonehead move with Elliott.
Yeah. He's done 6 starts, and his best finish is 9th.
I don't think he's even ran that many races in the Truck Series yet either. So really, I don't
don't
think
know.
Anybody can judge on what he can or can't do yet.
Yeah.
He's just somebody you think of that with what he's done in previous series, and he might have a decent chance.
My one recommendation.
I feel like people are so hyping him up so much.
Yeah, my one recommendation is
that's very possible as well.
Don't try and force it side by side into turn 5 and 6 against a Cup champion that's a road course god in the future. My only tip to him. It's never going to end well for you. And then he went and wrecked himself. But
yeah, back on the race.
Debris.
Oh boy.
Real debris. Okay, it's real. This is a rarity. Well, when NASCAR calls a debris caution nowadays, there's actually debris involved. So
Okay, so I didn't see. I was not watching when this happened because I had to do something.
There was a big piece of metal in the
same spot
okay,
where all
so
the
I-
chaos was happening.
Okay, because I saw people saying that it was offline and nowhere near people were going to hit and all that stuff.
It
so I
was
curious about
possible.
where
It was possible. It was possible.
Okay.
It was going to be unlikely, but possible.
Yeah, like if you went wide out of 6, you're
Okay.
probably gonna hit it. But if they took it
Which
like
pretty
they
much
had
everybody
been,
does.
yeah, if they took it like they had been, it's close. But like they could have definitely avoided it. But I think it was worthy of a caution. But that brings everybody to the pit lane except I think 4 stayed out.
Hamlin, Briscoe, Matty D.
There was someone else. I just don't remember who.
Well, with Matty D, he technically had literally just come off pit
Yeah,
road
yeah,
until
Matty
caution
D was
came
in
out,
the
so
pits when
technically
it
he just
happened.
pitted.
Was it Chastain? I don't remember.
He was close to the front, so maybe.
It was 4 cars either way.
Yeah.
And when I saw Briscoe was up there, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Like this dude missed the corner like 5 straight laps. I'm like, this is not gonna go well. And well, he didn't cause the issues yet. So they all get back going. Larson's on row 3, I believe. Elliott, by the way, has a terrible pit stop. So he's way back outside of the top 10, I think.
Ninth. No, I think he was
Busch.
in ninth.
Kurt Busch was the one that stayed
Oh
out.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was
the-
Kurt Busch. Yeah, because Kurt.
I remember.
hit Larson.
Yeah, so they get back going, and Larson is on the left side of the track. Okay, so Hamlin, of course, leading it down into turn 1, and then Larson like goes way over to the wall to protect over the 1 car of Kurt Busch. Well, no, okay, how's Larson in front of Kurt if Kurt stayed out?
Yeah, he was.
That had to be the
So
restart
Kurt got
after.
past-
He
No.
got a good restart and got
Okay.
around Kurt.
Yeah.
Okay,
He went in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
middle.
Kurt didn't have the best restart.
okay. Well, either way, Kurt starts out breaking himself a little bit and gets into the back of the 5. Or Larson braked early. Either one. I don't know.
I ain't
I
watching the
think
right
Kurt.
restart.
I think Kurt broke late because Larson started braking pretty much at the same
You're not
time.
even talking about the right restart.
Well, which one are we talking
we?
about?
Because Kurt was on the front row.
Oh, so this is the other one. Okay. Well,
This is the restart I'm talking about is when it happens.
oh,
thought that
well,
was
they go-
restart.
I thought it was too, because I thought that was the same one where Larson ran off the course.
I don't remember another restart.
Oh, I do, but
There was 3 restarts at the end. There was the one where it happened. The second one where Bubba avoids the chicane and someone goes over the chicane.
yes.
And then there was the end.
So Larson got shoved on the second one.
Yeah. So the first one
Okay.
is when
Oh yeah, because
Briscoe-
Larson got back to like row 2.
Yeah, he got to 3rd after the first
Yeah.
2 turns. So I thought the race was over.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
thought the
because it
race
was Hamlin and Briscoe going at it, and then Larson was up to 3rd. I remember now.
Mhm.
And then
And
Truex
then when they,
wrecks.
Truex gets wrecked, and there's tons of debris flying. So it's like,
Oh yeah, I
NASCAR
saw that. I'm
should've
like,
known.
what the heck?
but then the next lap, the chicane stuff happens.
Yeah.
So like, we should have probably known something was wrong.
I knew immediately. I
Yeah.
don't think it actually was pieces of curb flying, but that was my immediate thought is what was happening because it looked like pieces of metal.
It
And-
was
and-
pieces,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it was pieces of the curb. I think it was pieces of Truex's car. But at the time, my immediate thought was, is that looks like stuff holding the curb down or parts of the curb or something. And so my immediate thought was, they need to throw a caution, and nothing happened. So and
Oh.
Truex got himself going.
Yeah. Debris went
So
flying
I,
everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
it
like
went
it-
everywhere, and I thought
I
was
saw
curb.
it. Yeah, I saw it. And I was like, that is really weird, but I didn't think too much of it.
Yeah. And the
Um,
next lap happened.
Hamlin and Briscoe going at it, and
Yeah.
Larson's getting close, and I'm like, oh, these guys are done for. And then they go through the chicane. Hamlin goes through. Briscoe goes through. Larson, as soon as Larson went through,
Larson
I
is
noticed.
the one where the issue started.
I was like something happened, and then the 24 hits it, and I'm like,
And
something
then
happened.
everybody just dies. And everyone just dies.
You just see like a puff of like smoke just
And
kind
it's
of
like-
come out from the bottom
then
of
he
the
straight-
24.
and then he starts. You can hear the tire start sliding, and he starts wrecking. And
Well,
the next
and
thing you know, they
also
look down at a dead Logano, and then they pan away,
Yeah.
and the entire
the
field's
entire
dead.
field. So the thing is people. There's a giant overreaction here. I think a bit. Because everyone's thinking all these cars are spinning because of the curb, which
Yeah,
is
I was
not
gonna
the
say the
case.
same
It's
thing.
not the case. What happened is when Byron destroyed his car under the with the curb, it sprayed fluid everywhere.
Yeah, and that's
That's
what
what
everybody
actually
started
happened.
wrecking on.
Yeah.
I thought
That was
Byron
the
wrecked
same thing I
himself
was gonna say as
originally.
well.
I
And
was
that's
like,
what I
oh,
thought too in the moment. I was like, oh, he just spun himself off the curb, and then there
Or,
was a
yeah.
Logano dead in the
well, and
barrier.
then
So
the
then they
18
changed camera, and the
goes
entire
around.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
and
yeah, you saw Logano. He's like, wait, something's not right. And then they
yeah.
showed like the other 10 cars spinning out. And you're just like,
I
what
see
the
Suarez
hell?
compiling in. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I still was
Eric
hoping they would
Jones
have
spun.
I was hoping they would have a good view of Logano going into that barrier because that was a big hit.
They
Yeah.
technically should have, because they had another camera looking right at the curb. They just never actually showed it for some reason.
Yeah. Also, this week I learned curbs are made out of metal. Apparently,
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought it was gonna be like a concrete, like stony material, not metal.
I was thinking like not necessarily rubber, but like some
Yeah,
kind of
I was
material.
thinking
Like,
rubber is
I never
possible too.
thought they were
That's
metal.
what I
Or
always
actually,
thought.
well, it's possible that curbs are. It's actually possible that some curbs are kind of rubberish, but Indianapolis said those were specific ones they've used since 2014. So maybe those specific are metal, but still, I didn't know they were metal. I didn't think you could have those be metal, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
I mean, you get something goes wrong and cuts a tire, or takes out the 24 car.
Yeah, exactly. Now we see what can happen with metal curbs and why none of us really ever thought that they were metal. Because that.
And after that, I saw that crash ended up on WTF1. I'm like, oh god, this ain't good.
oh,
But yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
that
they all
that
went
was
crashing.
crazy.
I
That was
said
a holy shit moment.
I said to Jay, there's two things in my life that I wish I could go back and relive again without knowing what's coming, and that's Red Dead Redemption 2 and that crash. Like, it was like such a spectacular, like, oh my god, what just happened moment. I'm like, I cannot believe what I just watched. It was incredible.
I react pretty loudly to a lot of things happening in NASCAR, but I don't literally scream "Oh my god" too much. With that one, as soon as Byron started spinning, I had a reaction, and then I saw Logano kill the barrier, and I started like my "Oh my god" started, and then they panned out and saw everybody dying, and I just sat there like, "What am I looking at?"
Just like, what are we witnessing right now? And that's everyone's like, man, this is the stupidest thing ever. I'm like, this is what I love about motorsports. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is why I
It's
watch
still
racing.
something that you can maybe blame NASCAR for, but you can't say it's a complete clown show and completely awful and all this stuff. Like, there's dangers involved with the sport. NASCAR, and Bob Pockers even kind of mentioned this, and I agreed with him a little bit. He said NASCAR seemed to be kind of focusing on if the 19 was going to get away because that was a potentially stopped car on track, and so that was something they did pay attention to. And the lap times for a road course are kind of relatively short at Indianapolis, so I'm sure that by the time they had to think about anything else, is kind of when the pack started going through the first couple of turns, and all of a sudden they're at turn 6, and everybody's dying.
Yeah.
And I mean,
So,
there's so few
just like
laps to go, right? Like they're hoping they can just finish
Yeah.
it out anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and then,
just
and
like
then
the pure ending chaos races like that are something I still enjoy because it's nice to have one of those once in a while where just random wacky
Shenanigans.
things happen.
And how often?
It creates a topic for us to talk about, and it brings NASCAR into the spotlight. Even if it's for something really wacky and not the most positive thing in the world, it still gets eyes onto NASCAR and gets it in the news cycle again, sports news cycle again, and that's always something good, no matter what it. Well, not no matter what, but for most times, it's always good to have NASCAR be in the sports news cycle.
But yeah, I mean, the red flag was thrown, and it took over an hour to do the final 2 laps, basically.
yeah, oh my god, they did like 10 pace laps. What was going on?
Yeah,
People were
that,
clowning NASCAR for that one too, and that was quite clearly not necessarily NASCAR's fault. That was
I
the
remember.
cleanup crew's fault.
Yeah,
They
I
were
was
doing
just
a
like,
terrible job.
give NASCAR a break here. Like, we're just trying to make sure everything's safe and ready to go.
Like yeah, exactly. We had all this stuff go down where there was a bunch of safety stuff. NASCAR people are ripping NASCAR for not taking safety, and then when they start taking in the
Yeah.
exact same race, like 10 minutes later, when they start taking safety extremely seriously, oh NASCAR, what are you doing? Why are you so dumb? Why is it taking forever? Well, because they don't want to have anything go wrong, and if they
There
didn't,
was a lot of things that happened. It was like one of the Rick Ware cars imploded, and this like
yeah,
oil went.
There was a series of events that happened in a short
yeah,
span of time, right?
exactly. And if
Yeah.
NASCAR didn't take the time to make sure that stuff was cleaned up, and we had another wreck where they really could have avoided it, then people would be clowning on NASCAR even more. And it's like, good lord, you people are so dumb. You're complaining about them not taking safety seriously with this curb thing, but now when they start taking it seriously, making sure all this oil and all these fluids and all this the track is right, you're going to complain about it and say, "What are you doing? Why are you taking this so seriously?" Oh my gosh, NASCAR fans are the worst.
Um,
Oh, hey, I'm glad the curb was okay. He walked out under his own power.
and then they took it out.
Yeah,
We had to
under
get
his
him
own
assisted
power.
off the field.
They
He was limping
yeah,
a bit, but it was
they
all right.
took
He made it.
they took the curb out, and everyone's like,
This thing
well,
scary.
everyone's like, well, what happens now? Are we calling the race? No, I was like, NASCAR's gonna run that 100%. Like, why wouldn't we?
Oh, Jeff
The funny
Gluck.
thing is, the funny thing is I don't know about you, but when they removed it, I'm like, I know what's gonna happen. This
Yes.
next
Oh,
restart.
me and my dad were watching
it was
together, and
obvious.
we were like, someone's gonna hit that and launch. Because
Yeah.
you can't like you're like 10th place, I mean, even like third, fourth on back, you can barely see the curb, right? Your reference and the normal curb's gone. Your reference point is gone, so you really have to be focused in, paying attention. Well, that's so like one mistake, and obviously we saw what happened on the next restart. But yeah, Jeff Gluck, Jay mentioned, oh my goodness, like anybody that's like, this
Goodness.
race needs to be called immediately. I'm like, what the heck are you
Bro,
doing? Stop
dumbest
watching
thing.
motorsports. Stop reporting on motorsports. Like, oh my goodness, that just gets annoying.
An incident that was mildly bad but ended up with no injuries. We still have a lot of cars left, and also didn't completely tear up and ruin the track. Should call it a race? Yeah, no. We had a really wacky incident where something happened, and now all they have to do is remove the curb. Nobody's hurt. Everybody's fine. We still have a race to complete. There's no reason to call it.
Welcome to motorsports. But yeah, so eventually everything got repaired, and then they did a bunch of pace laps, and finally got back going. And this is the restart where Larson's third, Hamlin and Briscoe still your front row.
This is the one where Larson gets yeeted.
Larson gets hit from behind by the one car from Kurt Busch. So he's already going deep into the corner. And then he's 3 wide. He's got DiBenedetto, some other dude. I can't remember who was on DiBenedetto's right side. That guy's pushing DiBenedetto. Was it Allmendinger? So he's pushing DiBenedetto wide, while Larson's already about to go wide. And then, well, DiBenedetto's forced to push Larson wide into the grass, so Larson falls back. I'm like, oh, okay, he's no longer a factor. So I'm like, this is gonna get interesting.
We're not gonna skip over this, Gary. Can we talk about how you tried to blame DiBenedetto for that?
Hey, I was in the heat of the moment. Like I said, I didn't want
You were
Larson.
trying to say that was his fault.
I didn't want Larson to win, obviously, but I was like, my goodness, like what the heck are we doing here? But they go down into the chicane.
People send it so easily.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But I mean, it's a high speed, hard braking zone at the same time. So,
Yeah.
But they go into the chicane for the first time without this curb in turn 6. And I'm like,
And then
here
Michael
we go.
McDowell goes, yeet.
I was like, of all people that's gonna do this, it's Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell nails this thing. Bubba Wallace, beforehand, is headed full steam at this thing. I don't know how he got in that spot. Maybe he was side by side. Someone forced him wide.
Side by side.
But he does the smart thing. He's like, nope. He pulls out. He's like, I'm dipping from that. I'm going wide into the grass or something like that. And then
I choose to live.
He got sent to the back because of that. I think he still finished top 10.
13th.
Oh, 13. Either way, after being sent to the back. But
and then both RCR cars got taken.
To be fair, at this point, the back is like 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few cars that are out and or laps down.
Yeah.
But yeah, McDowell
let's see.
nails it, spins out. Bowman does a great job, just like, no, thank you, I'm not gonna hit you.
Bowman, oh my goodness, he did a masterful job avoiding that.
And then there was so much smoke. I saw the 3-car go into the smoke. I said, he's gonna hit something.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he hit something.
And
he hit the 34 and the wall.
And then his teammate Reddick gets involved in the wreck too, so both RCR cars get out. But Reddick's somehow able to continue with that wreck bucket of
Yes.
you know what.
And McDowell, he's wrecked. And
Just
I
watching
wasn't
the replay right
surprised.
now, it's just so funny. Just
I thought it was going to be a lot larger than what it was.
yeah.
As did I, yeah.
I was expecting to see a car 4 wheels off the ground like hauling, but it was still spectacular nonetheless. It just added on to the the chaos. We're like, this is incredible. And another caution, they even red flagged it for a short period of time.
Yeah.
It was very short, but we got back going
And-
again.
And then the last restart.
As a Denny Hamlin and Daniel Suarez enjoyer, everything went downhill very quickly in the final 5 laps of this race.
Yeah.
I'm still like kind of unsure what Suarez was talking about, because obviously the wreck, I don't think there was anything like that he or anybody else
think-
could have
I
done,
think
so
I
I'm
get
not
it.
too sure what specific
don't
thing he's
know.
talking about where everybody's
I think
driving
turn
like
1 was a
clowns.
good example of the disrespect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
this 4
true.
and 5 wide, just everyone is beating banging.
Yeah, instead
Yeah,
of
like we have
being
a row slowing
considerate.
down for the corner at the right time, as somebody decides to full send because they see an opening there and can make a hole. Yeah, that's true. That happened a lot.
But for the final restart, Hamlin gets a great launch. He's clear of everybody into turn 1. I don't know if he slowed up early or again everybody tried to outbrake. But Allgaier tags him from behind, doesn't hit him bad, but
Allgaier.
gets him.
Allgaier.
Allmendinger hits him a little bit, not a lot, but it was enough to kind of move him around just a tiny bit. And Hamlin goes wide. Well, unfortunately, the 14 of Briscoe's there. And instead of Larson forced himself through the grass in that situation, stayed on track, didn't take a penalty. Briscoe bails out, cuts the whole corner, and comes back on like virtually side by side with Hamlin. And like NASCAR doesn't
He does give him the
hesitate.
spot, though.
Yes, NASCAR doesn't hesitate. They're like, yeah, that's a penalty. Stop and go in turn 10. And for the record, the radio communications Briscoe.
It's not clear.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell, so we're not going to dive into it. But from what we are aware, is he did not actually know he had a penalty, basically, at the time.
It seemed like it seemed like he was being told probably as it was happening, or maybe a second after. Because I went through and obviously I think we've all seen that thing posted now on YouTube of their actual radio communication, and it is quite hard to tell. But I think I was able to kind of decipher it enough to where the spotter was told by the crew chief, and then instead of saying it on channel 1, he was accidentally saying it at first on channel 2 as Briscoe was spinning Hamlin. And so that's when you heard the communication, something about channel 2, and then you heard him say the 10-second stop and go again right after that. So it sounds like he said it on channel 2 accidentally right about the same time that Briscoe was turning Hamlin, and then told him again on channel 1. And so Chase really didn't know until right after he accidentally spun Hamlin.
And NASCAR parked him for that. So yeah, I mean, he got behind Hamlin, and then
Dumped him.
Hamlin's spotter was like, "Don't worry about the 14. He's got a penalty. He's not a factor." Well,
And then Briscoe just dumps him.
takes him out. His defense was he was trying to cross Hamlin over to get to the inside, just on his bumper.
But even on the turn, he was on his bumper.
Exactly.
Before they even.
It was not deliberate, apparently, to Briscoe. I'm very on the fence. At first, I was like, that was the dumbest thing ever. Obviously, I was upset. And then he seemed very genuine in his post-race interview. But the more I saw it, the more I leaned back to, I'm like, you beat his bumper off the corner before. And then you stay on his bumper and try to cross him over, quote unquote, on his bumper and just clean him right out. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
I hate.
To
I also just hate everyone on social media saying like, "Oh, Briscoe's the fucking man." I'm like, dude, you didn't even try to pass him. He just
No, he wiped him
dumped
right out. And they're like, "Oh, well, Hamlin deserved that." Briscoe was the one that bailed out in the first place and cut the course. Like he was gonna go wide, but I mean, he still could have been right there with Denny. But I'm like, that was hard road course racing on a restart. Does that um allow Briscoe to deliberately take out the competition? I don't think so. In my opinion, I mean, you guys might have a different opinion, but um,
I mean, the only reason only reason they're cheering Briscoe so
Hamlin.
hard is because the
yeah,
JGR
Hamlin
driver.
has so many
What if that was
haters.
Chase Elliott?
That's what I'm
Hopefully.
saying.
Briscoe
Yeah.
would not. He would have needed a lot of security.
Yeah.
That's the
Like,
thing. It depends who it is getting taken out, basically, with NASCAR fans.
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
people that are hard on both sides of the argument are just the worst because you have the ones that are just like, it's Denny Hamlin, he deserves anything like that, haha, screw him. And then you have the people that are like, Briscoe is a freaking idiot, what is he doing in this sport, all this stuff. Like, okay, with the Hamlin thing, chill out on with the hate on him. He literally does not do. He's done one thing, and that is wreck Chase Elliott 4 years ago,
Loved it.
and he has not done like all these things that people claim that he needs to be hated for. And then like with the Briscoe thing, I mean, the guy was literally not told he has a penalty yet. Even if he thinks he has a penalty coming, in what world are you going to assume that and then immediately slow down and not still go for the win until you are told you have a penalty? You are no longer in chances for the win. Why would you immediately just slow yourself down and assume that without being officially told? Because technically he went through the grass, he avoided getting in a wreck. He probably could have slammed himself back onto track, but he avoided getting into a wreck or making contact with anyone, put himself through the grass, slowed down to let Hamlin by, and then went immediately back to racing him. And so in his world, maybe he thinks, okay, he did enough to maybe not get a penalty, and until he's officially told, he's going for it. So why would he not be racing aggressively and going for it until he is actually told?
Well,
So the
the
people
main
saying
issue
he's an idiot and
is
should not have been racing him is just I think is stupid.
I think the main issue is what are the rules,
Yeah, that
right?
that is another thing. That's a whole nother topic of conversation as well that NASCAR
That
needs
I
to
think.
really they need to
Yeah.
yeah.
Need to be more clear about.
Because
It's
Yes.
because
just,
I don't know about you, but when it happened, I thought Briscoe was gonna be fine.
I did too. He went in
So
the
did I, yeah.
corner. He went in the corner side by side. Came out of it behind. So I
But
was
I
like,
I
oh, he
agree.
didn't. He didn't gain
He didn't
anything.
gain a massive advantage. He literally came out behind Hammond and let him by and then went back to racing him. So I agree. I actually thought he'd be fine as well. And
Like, what are
then
you supposed to do? What is Briscoe supposed to do when you get forced off?
yeah, exactly.
Because
He felt like
you can't merge back on because there's cars there.
exactly. That's why I'm saying and making the argument for he genuinely was going for it until he was told to no longer go for it, and so that's why I still think that he did not know he had a penalty yet because
Yeah,
you're going for the
I do
at
believe he
that point
didn't
you're
know
still
about the
going for
penalty
the
yet.
win.
I didn't.
Um,
I would assume so.
and then obviously he had to do a stop and go. Sailed it off into turn 10. Stopped. And Hamlin wrecked again a corner later.
Yeah.
I don't know how it
You ever do
happened.
that?
Yeah, we saw it on the
He just
14
drove it. He
onboard.
drove it in too hard.
Hamlin's got a history at when he gets really like upset, he'll go and like finish himself off a lot. But then Briscoe got parked for taking out Hamlin. Still finished like 26 or something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, here's AJ Allmendinger leading the way. And I'm like, thank God it's not a guy like Briscoe, because I was just like, not another like shock winner that gets into the playoffs like Almirola. So Allmendinger holds on over Blaney and Larson and wins the race. And I was like, okay, I mean, a feel good victory at least, because I mean, of course, I mean, he blocked me on Twitter like 7 years ago, by the way. But it was really cool to see him win. I'm sure you guys, I mean, I don't know anybody that hates AJ Allmendinger. So it was really cool to see him win.
I was extremely happy and extremely excited to see him win.
As you know what, there was one consolation prize, Gary, with AJ winning. You don't need to hear the talk about if Denny Hamlin going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh my God.
That's honestly a reason that I was hoping Briscoe would win, not because I want to see Denny make the playoffs, or just because I want there to be that drama
Oh my God.
and still that possibility of him losing or losing out on the playoffs. Not because I want to see it happen though, just because I still want there to be that drama and that possibility. Because like Oh boy, I think that also would have forced that happening as well. I think would have also forced NASCAR's hand to make some kind of change and maybe get rid of winning your end or do something to make the playoff system
Oh, they
better.
love this.
Yeah, they love it.
That's
That's
what they
also
want.
true. That's also true.
They want chaos.
Hamlin is 22 points behind Larson in the regular season championship battle right now. I think if he can go into Daytona less than 25 below, he can still win it because Larson's
Yeah.
garbage when it comes to plate racing. And Hamlin, well,
Yeah.
we've seen his resume at plate tracks. So
I'm not sure I'd still call Larson garbage at play tracks, but we know how Denny Hamlin is at play tracks, so that alone is enough to be like, okay, we can expect him to be leading a lot of laps. Uh, so yeah, I still think that if Hamlin is within 25 points or around 25-ish points, that he'll have a chance
yeah, there's
going
still
into
a battle
Daytona.
there. Yeah.
Thing
Yeah.
is Michigan is technically been Larson's playground before, so
That's the thing too.
never
Larson
know
could
going
go
into this
dominate
track.
there. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking after Indy. I was like,
Wait,
oh
wait,
god,
yeah,
he's
but
gonna
here's
go
the
win
big
again.
thing. No. It's not that simple.
Package, the package.
Yeah, all of his
It
wins
is
were on the
completely different.
750.
Yes,
That's true.
but
So
it's also Kyle Larson and Hendrick Motorsports, so I still wouldn't count him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I no longer think Kyle Larson is
It's-
trash at a type of track like I used to think.
We thought he
I
was
think
falling
he's-
off for like 3 or 4 weeks.
well, it's been 2 road courses.
Falling off is like a relative term there because it's not like he
Yeah.
was finishing 20th. He was still finishing top 10, top 5 and being
Yeah.
competitive.
Well,
he just
even,
wasn't
like-
winning.
Here's the thing. Like road course racing is cool and all, but I honestly don't. I don't care if you're doing that well at them because it still ain't gonna matter in the end.
Yeah, as many as there are in the schedule now, there's only one in the playoffs, and the championship still matters or is still going to be decided by an oval. So I mean,
That's how, like, we got so many road courses, but only one in the playoffs. I'm like,
yeah, I think
I
that'll
think there should be
change.
2. I think there should be 2 in the playoffs. No more than 2. Just give us 2%. 2 of them, 20% of the playoffs, road course racing.
I still think that the playoffs, we don't really have to get into a big debate about it, but I'd like to see the playoffs be a variation of each round has a different track or like a different style track. So like a short track road course, intermediate, then like a super speedway short track intermediate, something like that. Like three
It's
different
it's
tracks in the
tricky.
rounds, not
my
I
only
know,
thing,
but that's what I'd like to see.
just get rid of Phoenix as the finale. No, thank you. That's all. That'll be
Yeah,
enough to
if
make
there's
me
one change
happy.
you're gonna make, do that one first, and then worry
And
about.
then we go
future
to the new finale is Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh no, Texas. No.
If they,
Oh
imagine,
God.
imagine if they come out in like 2 weeks with the schedule and they're like, yeah, Texas is the championship race next year.
Isn't it already announced to be Phoenix again?
I don't think so.
I believe so. Yes. No. I'm
think
pretty sure. it
Oh
is.
no,
I-
you're right. Yeah, they did. Yeah. God, what are we doing? They're gonna prove again this year of why exactly we don't need it.
One of their main arguments for it is that it's a great market out there, right?
I don't give a crap what the market is.
Oh, even so, I don't believe that for a second. How in the world is a race in Phoenix, Arizona, a better market for you than
Miami?
freaking Miami? Like, come on!
I
There's
think
no shot.
I'm all for changing up where we go to, but go to a place that is proven to put on good races. Even before this, Phoenix, I'm like, no, this ain't a championship worthy track.
Yeah, there's also a point, like it doesn't excuse it being at Phoenix, but you're also limited in your choices because of the time of year.
Yeah, and the weather and whatnot. I think
Like
Miami's
like
a
these are-
great
The reason
place.
why Miami is a great choice.
yeah.
I
But
mean,
like
Arizona's got good weather too, but still.
you know what? All right, I've got it. Not next year, but the year after. The Auto Club short track, baby.
Oh, they're gonna come out and
Now, a
just
race
throw
in
that
that
on
way-
us.
That would
What?
be something.
I wouldn't be
What?
surprised if they did that.
What, Jay?
I said a race in technically in LA because Auto Club is right
Yeah.
outside of LA. A championship race in LA, that would be something. And actually,
At a short
NASCAR's
track.
looking at that.
Or you could go this way. Atlanta, the new Atlanta,
Ugh.
just for the absolute memes.
You'd have Harvick would retire on the spot. You know what? Let's do it just so that happens. Goodness, let's get him out of here. I'm tired of him whining every week.
Um.
Oh God, he never stops this year.
But like, I honestly,
He really
Darlington
has
would.
turned into a boomer.
That's Kevin Boomer Harvick. He just he sounds so old, man. He's like, we
Oh
we
my
don't belong in the
gosh.
rain. We need to go back oval
Honestly,
racing.
Darlington wouldn't be a bad finale either.
No, it wouldn't.
I think
Even though, I guess
Although,
you couldn't really do it because they would take away the Southern 500 and the throwback weekend.
yeah, that's also true.
Well, the throwback's in the spring now, so. Eh.
I think that Darlington is also one of those tracks, so that's getting into the conversation of when does it need to be repaved, and I think we're getting very close.
You know what? That happened this
turn
week.
2.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's also
they
true. Yeah,
repaved
that's
turn
also
2.
true.
I'm surprised people
Um,
didn't go crazy over that. That's gonna
Um,
People
change the
tried to, and
racing
then they
in
got shut
turn
down real
2.
quick.
well, interesting with Darlington, it's not that old.
Well, yeah, but because of where it's at, it gets
Yeah,
eroded
at
and
surface.
yeah,
Yeah.
it gets destroyed so quick because of it being near all that sand. That sand destroys that.
What if they
Yeah.
just repave one section per year? Is that gonna make
It
the fans
seems-
go crazy?
Well, we still have to talk about Indianapolis still, but let's get into the Darlington stuff in a minute because it's actually very interesting, right? But let's
Not
talk
to
about
me, but I'll let you guys go on about it.
Well,
What
I'll explain why I
Indianapolis
think
stuff was there to talk about still?
well, I mean, AJ won.
I want to get into the conversation of NASCAR and they're needing to actually make track limits and stuff. That's something I still want to.
Also, let's shouting out Eric Jones, Justin Haley for their top tens. Justin
I don't like
Haley
Justin
in
Haley,
Aspire.
so
I mean, you can think whatever, but still, he finished 8th in Aspire car.
To be fair,
Half the
a lot
field
of cars
wreck.
wrecked out for that to happen.
Hey, he decided to put
Still.
his car there.
Yeah, he still had to keep his car clean to make it there, so you
And
can't necessarily hate on or fault him for it.
and
but-
biased me, Eric Jones gets the top 10. Woo! I won the last. I
Hey,
likely
man.
to be the last one of the season.
Even though De Benedetto had a really shitty car there towards the end, he survived and he got himself a 4th place starting spot for Michigan, so I'll take it.
yeah, I'll be back to 17th at the end of stage 1.
You know what? Where's Suarez going to be at the end of stage 1, Gary?
Better than De Benedetto.
Bet.
You know what? I couldn't believe this. That this actually. If you told me 2 months ago this would actually be happening, I'd call you insane. But Eric Jones and Suarez are now tied in points.
His last month and a half has been miserable.
Yeah, that's
I honestly, like it's part miserable, but also I'm like, maybe Trackhouse is coming down to earth a little bit because I think in the start of the season they had some like way better than they ever should have been.
We're running right where I said we should be running now.
Yeah.
Which is at 20 to 25th area.
Yeah.
Is Daniel still able to find a way here and there to get the car doing better than that, which is really impressive. But that 20 to 25th area, that's where that team should be, and I think it's kind of nice that they're getting that wake up call, like, hey, this is where we're at. So that kind of helps going into next year, I think.
And also with that point of where Suarez is running and having his really good point in the season, that was also when Chevys in general were just the dominant manufacturer. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it, and then the other manufacturers caught up a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys said you wanted to talk about Darlington or something?
Yeah, because this is actually really interesting. So basically, turn 1 and 2 have no grip at all. It's laughable how little grip it has. And now you just added this giant grip strip at the exit of the turn. And you have to wonder what tire Goodyear's going to bring now.
Yeah, it brings a lot of things into question. What tire they're going to bring, how the cars are going to handle, how the race is actually going to
because you can't bring a soft. You can't bring a soft tire. Well, not as a soft tire as they've been bringing, probably.
It is going to be kind of a wacky situation when they go to Darlington.
And we've never seen this. We have never seen this in NASCAR, where one turn lead just gets repaved at a track where there's 3 seconds of fall off.
We saw it a tiny bit with Daytona, but nowhere near where it was going to affect anything at all because it was one little tiny patch, and there's also Daytona where tire wear does not matter.
I guess Pocono had that grip strip in 3, but this is a completely different beast.
Yeah, it is going to be at least somewhat interesting, and I'm sure create a lot of hectic for the crew chiefs because there's no practice for the Southern 500, right? Or do
There
they have
is not.
practice?
Oh my god. Yeah,
So
there is
yeah,
no practice.
if there's no practice for it, then that's really going to be a question mark for the
You're
crew
going
chief.
in. I mean, not so much on lap 1, but on turn 2, you're going. And you're like, you have no grip, and then oh my god! Imagine like you're super loose right before it, and then you hit the new pavement, and it just grips up, and you just die. Because like, let's say like you're loose right before the new pavement, and you got the wheel crank to the right. As soon as you hit that, oh my god!
Yeah,
Because
it,
it's
it
gonna
could
grip up
cause some
like
chaos.
it's
But
interesting.
I think that's something that, and I don't know if you guys have the same opinion I do, but I think the NASCAR, going back to Indianapolis and the stuff that happened, I think they need to
Mhm.
develop some kind of Formula One system for track limits to where they actually police it. They give it
Yes.
drivers a very, very strict, this is the track limits, don't go over it, or this is what will happen to you. Not, this is kind of the track limits, go over it. We may give you a penalty, we may not. This also may or may not be what the penalty is. They need to really come up with a system next season to have that stuff policed, have it policed correctly
Yeah.
and consistently, and not just you may get a penalty, you may not. It depends on how we feel. Kind of like we have now. It's not necessarily like that, but I can't find a better way to describe it. Track limits right now basically don't exist except for like in 2 turns at each road course, to where they're really going to cut here, but they really need to be making it a thing all around every road course, everywhere we go, and have it be very specific so these drivers know what they can and cannot do. And that way they stop trying to cheat and then put themselves in situations where either wrecks happen or they get themselves penalized when they weren't expecting one.
And they also have to do something where don't force people off.
Yeah, that too. That also is something that needs to happen. They need to revamp, especially with us going to more road courses now. The penalty system has to be revamped for road courses. You don't really need it so much for ovals because there's not really going to be a chance to corner cut or do anything like that. And if somebody dumps you or you dump them, then obviously it's going to be a price for both drivers. And you don't really have to worry about a penalty system. But it's completely different for road courses. And I think that's something NASCAR has overlooked for a long time now, and especially now with them having 7+ road courses a season for the near future, and if not further than that, they really got to rework a penalty system. It's absolutely crucial because otherwise we're going to start having stuff like this happening, and then we're going to also start having NASCAR police it in dumb ways like they are with the huge ass curbs, when they could just draw a line and be like,
Mhm.
"Don't go over this line. If you do, you get a penalty."
Um, I agree. I
Right.
think if you're gonna cut a corner, and get a penalty, I think you should also get penalized if you're gonna go excessively wide out of a corner.
Yeah.
Intentionally, that is, to gain an advantage. I mean, you gain an advantage by doing that because you can carry more speed. So
Yeah.
you gain an advantage either way. You should be penalized for it.
Like
And with
you
that
know,
specific corner at Indy, they mentioned they had that giant curb there to the inside because if the drivers cut it, they could go full speed through there and then be like 15 to 20 mile an hour faster going into that corner
Mm.
down there, and that's just way too fast. They felt like for the drivers to be going, so that's why that giant curb was there. But
Well,
you
I
can
mean,
easily eliminate that by making track limits and saying if you go over there, you are getting a big penalty.
I mean, that's why I hated when they freaking removed. And you saw this on Twitter with like a lot of the analyst guys, like that orange curb in the Xfinity race. I hated that they removed it. If if you can't find a way to actually enforce track limits, it's their problem that they destroyed their car.
I don't necessarily agree with that one because NASCAR's reasoning for it is they wanted to put that curb there to keep the drivers from going in the grass. But like, why would you put a giant curb there? It's where drivers are going to go wide there. It's going to happen, especially if they're too wide. And then also, if you want them to not go in the grass, then okay, they'll just not go in the grass because if they do, it's probably going to tear up their car or they'll spin out. There's no reason to try and put that there to have them not go in the grass. They're already going to be trying to not go in the grass because you don't want to be there.
Yeah,
So
but like
that curb being there and their reasoning for it was really stupid.
I don't think it was that stupid. You shouldn't
They
be
they
out there
they specifically
anyways.
said that it was for them to not go into the grass, but it's like you don't need a curb to prevent that. The drivers are already not going to go into the grass. It's not like they gain an advantage from doing that. So I don't know why you needed to put a big hump there, anyways.
Hmm. All right. I mean, they need to do something. That's all.
I also
'Cause
think that an easy way to remedy that for next year is just instead of taking that little tiny chicane that
you
basically
do
means
that. You
nothing,
do that
just go the little
hairpin.
loop. Yeah,
Yeah.
do the little loop, and there you go. You don't have to worry about it. But anyways, that's my tangent over with.
Um, there was some silly season news again. to go over.
Yeah, there was.
Well, one of them's not surprising whatsoever. It's
Well,
old-ish,
one
but
half,
a
one
little,
half of it.
yeah, a little
one
add-on
half
that we
is
can discuss quickly. Kurt Busch, 2 offers on the table confirmed himself. We already know one of them's going to be 2311, which he confirmed himself a while back. But the second one, we don't know what that is. I think potential. I mean, it could very well be unlikely. Maybe GMS. I wouldn't go. I don't think they're going to be a threat, in my opinion, as like a top ride. But
yeah.
I was thinking the same thing as well, simply because they have not announced who their second
Right.
driver is yet, and they
I
said that
think
they're still looking
GMS.
for him. So
yeah, I think that's the option.
What are you talking about GMS? GMS doesn't even know if they're going full time.
But they, well, either way, that's still my opinion.
I think you're talking about Collie with the second car.
No, I still
no,
think GMS.
GMS announced they were going full time with
Yeah.
one.
What is it
And then
full
they had
time?
Yeah, because they got a charter.
Car. They were still trying to find a
GMS
driver
does not
for.
have a charter.
Did they not? Well, they're going.
They
They
do
have
not.
said they're going full time.
I don't even remember them saying going full time. They were considering it.
Let me confirm here. We could just be wrong here.
But
Let's see. I think Karma. I think Matt's more on the right side. I'm just quickly scrolling, but I don't see anything about full time. So either way, I mean, other than that, the colleague full time car is taken, and I don't think Kurt wants to do something that's not full time.
Well, there's one thing. With the second colleague ride is there was talks like if someone came in with sponsorship, they could be this like 2 full-time drivers.
Well, Kurt.
So that's why I think that. So that's
why
you
know
I think,
what, you could be right.
Because that's why I think it might be colleagues the second one. Because I'm thinking like, well, it's obviously not Hendrick, obviously not Trackhouse, not JTD Doherty. I don't think.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it matters who the second one is at this point. I think
it's true. I
pretty
think
much a lock. Honestly, I think he's going to 23XI.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that too. Yeah, but the second team is interesting. But yeah, I agree. It's like he's gonna go to Toyota. I think it's too good to pass up.
I agree. I think that's where we'll see him. Great.
The
Noah
Busch brothers,
Gragson.
pseudo teammates.
You know what? That would be a nice way to end Kurt's career, in my opinion. Yeah. But there was some Xfinity stuff going on as well. So
yes, because Josh Berry, my man,
deserving. Going full time for JRM next year. Well, who's the guy out?
Well, Junior said it's possible for 5 cars, but I don't even. But Gregson had an interview today, and boy, oh boy, when he got asked about next year, he looked so dead inside.
Now,
it was like he wasn't even trying to hide it.
Was there other parts of the interview?
I don't know.
I wonder if he had that same vibe the whole time.
Well, there was so he posted. Bob Parker's posted 2 parts of that interview. The first part was I didn't watch it. I only watched the second part, but the first part was him asking Noah Gragson about Josh Wise and him getting his win this past weekend. I think at the Knoxville Nationals.
Larson won the Knoxville.
Yeah, no, but like Josh Wise won something at the track. I think it was one of the heats or something like that. I also could be wrong. Either way, he asked Noah Gragson a question about Josh Wise winning something this past weekend, and because apparently Josh Wise is like
he's a trainer, I think.
Yeah, he's something for the team, and so like that was the thing he asked him about. So he posted that clip, but I didn't watch it, so I don't necessarily know how Noah looked in that clip. But yeah, he straight up looked like he just
died. You just watched him and die.
That question, and yeah, he looked absolutely just. I guess heartbroken when he asked him that question and wanted to completely avoid it, and wanted no part of that question.
Gonna take a gamble and say he's out at JRM.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't think it's a gamble, to be honest. Because here's my thing. I've never been a Gragson guy. I've never seen what people see in him at all. I mean, I'm gonna put it this way: His 2 Xfinity wins, one at Daytona, and the other one he did send his teammate to Narnia at Bristol.
To be fair, this season he's had some bad luck, and he's also thrown away several races before as well. But I also agree. I don't think he's the mega talent everybody expects him and thinks that he is. But
You've been
the
in
GMS,
JRM equipment for 3 years, and you have 2 wins to show for it, and both of them can be put with an asterisk around them.
in the same time, though, aside from Justin Allgaier, how many wins does GM Motorsports in that time span have overall? Like, it's not a ton.
I mean, I guess I can't complain too much
I
because
think the last time someone tore it up was when Byron was there.
I mean, I shouldn't say too much because Michael Annette's still at JRM for some reason, but Allgaier wins every year pretty much.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. You keep
Josh Berry. Hey, Josh Berry won this year.
Like if they keep Annette over Gregson, I think that's not the right move. But I mean, Annette's got the sponsorship.
Well, there's also rumors that Gregson doesn't have his sponsors anymore because a lot of it was like funding from his dad, and like I think his dad is in a little trouble.
A little bit.
Or has been. Yeah. So like a lot of that money's gone.
I mean, Junior's talked about it before and openly talked about how expensive the team is to run and like how much he kind of is suffering for money. So him keeping Annette around, like, you know, it's not that surprising to me if he's still getting good sponsorship money from him, because it's not like Annette is absolutely terrible and gets him 40th place every week. I mean, Annette does still run semi-competitively for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, he's there and at least putting enough worth in for the money that's being spent on him. So. But another reason why I was also thinking about GMS earlier is because I've also seen a lot of people saying that that's somewhere that Gregson could end up. So apparently there is still a ride open for him there.
I've heard that too.
So I guess GMS still does have an option open out there for somebody to take. They just don't know who yet, I guess.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm just being real. I mean, like, why? What? There's no reason. I just don't see how you can keep this guy. Well,
yeah,
I guess I can, but like here's the thing. It's like, well, he's even in more trouble than you think, because it's like, well, Ty Gibbs is gonna come next year. He's gonna kick his ass because he's already doing it. Allgaier is better than Gregson. Sam may or may not be better than him. Like, it feels like his shot's gone already. You know, like people have already come up and surpassed him almost.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it also might have something to do with him not being able to fight Orion in the Cup Series just because of where he's at. He's technically in the Hendrick Motorsports program, and what ride does Hendrick Motorsports have open?
Nothing for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think it's also a position of he's just been kind of stuck with nowhere to go, and I'm sure that he's probably looked at other manufacturers and other teams, but I'm sure he's wanted to stay with that Chevrolet program and be with, you know, be in that whole entire side of things. So I assume that's probably another reason why he hasn't really been able to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's stuck, and he might be out of a ride, and he'd be in trouble out of a ride, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he does have the talent to be a competitive Cup Series guy. I think it's just unfortunate with where he's at. He's just kind of stuck, and then
I don't think he can. I've never been impressed by him.
Well,
I think he can win a rain shortened race.
My point still being, I think it's just unfortunate that he's kind of been stuck with where he's at. He doesn't really have anywhere to go, and now he's kind of his time in Xfinity for him to develop has kind of run its course, and so now he's got to find his own thing, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's much out there for him.
Yeah.
There was another bit of news that came out that
out of nowhere.
I didn't even realize it. I think you were the one.
There was no rumor.
Yeah, no one speculated anything.
Bob Pockris just randomly said it this weekend.
Combined qualifying and practice possible for 2022.
Not that.
2022.
Not that.
Yeah, not that.
What?
The Front Row Motorsports thing.
Oh yeah, well that was at the bottom of the list, so I wasn't paying attention. I've talked about that so much off the podcast that it's old news already. But yeah, 2311 might be buying the charters from Front Row Motorsports, which everyone was like, "Whoa, this came out of nowhere," and I'm like, a week ago I heard the same thing, and they're like, "Well, no, that was
Well,
just
we've
one charter."
heard
I'm like, "I
we've
heard
heard
the
a
whole team
rumor for a
already.
long time about one charter, but the whole team,
I heard the whole
uh,
team
Yeah,
like
it
a week
wasn't.
ago."
according to
I
Poggers, it was a rumor going around the garage. So I guess it was an actual rumor. It's just not one that had gained much attention in the media. And if
Mhm.
you had only seen certain places, you might have seen the rumor. But now it's certainly gained a lot of traction with Bob Pockers being very direct about that question,
Yeah,
putting
just
it
like
out there for everybody to
he was
see.
like, "Hey, Denny, how's the front row motorsports thing going?" um, it's
And then just
bizarre.
straight up asking McDowell if he feels uncomfortable yet about not having a ride for next season. And McDowell was like, wait, what do you mean?
I mean, the way I look at it, I'm like, that team hasn't really, other than win a couple plate races, they haven't improved really. I mean, obviously the
Yeah,
34 has been doing decent this year, but
they had that promise there for a while. Where everybody was like, this is, one of those teams that's on the come up. They're going to get good and we're going to see them be a winning team. And
It's not.
it's just kind of flattened out
I
and not.
I think whoever owns that team is an opportunity to cash out big time. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
I feel more believable of them just doing one charter.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the whole team. I think they will
I
give up
think it's
one,
one charter, and I
maybe
mean,
two.
I
Well,
don't.
how many
They
do
only
they
have
have?
two.
Two? Oh, they only have
They
two.
had the
Okay.
34 and the 38.
Yeah, that's right. Because they used to have 3 cars though at some point. So I think one.
Yeah.
I think one they'll give up.
Yeah, I
They
don't.
cash
I
in on
mean,
like $10 million, and they can focus
yeah.
on one car.
I don't know. I feel like they do so the whole team at this point.
I
Because
wouldn't be
what
surprised either
promising
way.
driver wise have they got going for them right now? They don't have anybody young and promising.
Anthony
Excuse me,
Alfredo, who
goodness.
moved up after doing 5 Xfinity races of mediocrity. I mean,
And
Yeah,
has
and
been
has come into the Cup
terrible.
Series and not done anything this season. And
He's
then
been
they
really
have
bad, honestly.
yeah, and then they have McDowell who's got his win at the Daytona 500 and then is really only decent on road courses and has a decent oval race every now and then, but is not the guy going forward to lean on to build a program around and put a whole bunch of money into. So honestly, I think that if 23XI is offering to buy the whole team, I think they do
I'd
it.
take it.
Now, let's say they buy both charters. Who in the hell is
Yeah,
the
who's
third
the third
driver?
I have no clue. The most obvious choice for me seems like John Hunter Nemechek. Outside of him, I have no idea who else would go there.
Hey, you know what you were saying, Jay? I saw a quote
I
on
don't.
Reddit. Denny Hamlin,
But yeah,
after
Matty
their
D.
little thing with Matty D, is like, I got your back, and like if I have to put my own money into you, I will. And
Oh yeah, I do remember
I'm
seeing that.
like,
And he
you
did
never
he has
know,
done that with
you
sponsorship
never know.
before on the 32. So
Yeah.
But that was after.
the
But
hope
here's the
is
one
still
thing.
there. The dream is still there for me. Do I think it's realistic?
I
Not
I
really, but
No,
please.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I'm gonna keep on riding the bandwagon of Matty D screwed unless he wins the race.
I I would say if 2311 gets 3 charters, they have already proven they're willing to take a chance on a driver.
Yeah.
Um,
One who
Well, when
technically
someone comes in with $20 million of sponsorship, is it really a shit chance?
well, they still took a chance of
I think that it would be
performance.
extremely easy for DeBenedetto to find himself some sponsors. You know why he hasn't? Because up until now, he hasn't had to. He's got that Quick Lane sponsorship and that Menard sponsorship for everything. They are full on sponsor that Wood Brothers team. He hasn't really had to go and find sponsors yet. I'm sure he could easily find some if he went
This
out and looked
guy,
for him. He's an extremely marketable guy.
this guy's gonna have Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
People
he's
want
also
to
going to be on
people
Michael fucking Jordan's
people
NASCAR team.
yeah, people
If that
want
were
to
to
be on
happen.
that.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
I'm
could
like,
easily find sponsorship for that.
if they get 3 charters, I think DeBenedetto goes there. If they don't get 3 charters, I think DeBenedetto's not in Cup next year. That simple as that.
Yeah.
I think Danny Hamlin takes a chance.
my thing is, I just feel like there's better drivers available than Matty D still.
Available?
Yeah, available?
Yeah.
Who?
Technically,
like legit.
technically Reddick's available. Apparently,
I think
I'd
he's.
take
I
Reddick
think
over-
he's.
I
I think he's staying.
I
stays.
doubt he
I don't
leaves.
see
Yeah.
it.
I thought, but I'm just saying, in a theoretical world, he is technically a free agent next year. Take him any day over Matty D. Any day. It's not
Who
even a
else?
contest, to be honest.
Who else?
If he is theoretically leaving, and there is a possibility of that, then I guess I would agree with that as well. I think that I do agree. I think they are close, but Reddick is the younger, more well. No, actually, I don't think he is younger. I think Reddick's actually kind of old, isn't he? Or no, is that
He's
Alfredo?
a
I'm
little.
thinking of this old.
He's like 26,
Reddick's-
maybe.
Reddick is 25.
Okay.
Okay, so not as old as I was thinking. I think I'm thinking of Alfredo.
But
Yeah.
Or there's
I'm
somebody
trying to think here.
who's new to the series but is older and it doesn't seem like they
Bell.
would be anyways.
Bell's older than Eric Jones.
Yeah, Bell's old. He's like 27, 28.
Eric Jones is a free agent.
Yeah, it's okay. It's Christopher Bell then.
Jones is a possibility. He's proven to be good.
Yeah.
Though I think he's staying with RPM from what I heard.
Well,
I think.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Eric Jones last year was like, "Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Not getting
but now-
re-signed and anything."
Yeah, but this is a team that can't do anything half the time. Although they've
Well,
been
yeah,
doing
and also
pretty
it's
decent.
Eric's choice. Here's the thing. It's also Eric's choice. Eric holds all the power in this in his contract. So.
Another thing is we were just talking about DeBenedetto easily being able to find sponsorship for a third car at 23XI. While I think Eric could still easily do it because that team alone is probably easily marketable. Karma, you can't deny that Eric Jones has a personality of a freaking doorstop.
I'm not gonna disagree with that.
He does not have any kind of personality at all. So
I was thinking there of a way to try
to
find him.
He's just a vibe. He's just the chillest dude around.
Yeah, he's just not hugely marketable, but that team still themselves is hugely marketable. So no matter
here's the
who goes there,
thing.
they probably easily find
Here's the
sponsors.
thing. With RPM, there's been 5 actual sponsored races for them this year.
Yeah.
So like, Eric's not bringing in the money either, and I mean, we're assuming in the world MediD can get sponsorships, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know for any driver. We're just making assumptions.
Yeah.
Based off of what we think A, the team can do, and B, the driver personality and how marketable they are. You know, it could be the exact opposite. Eric Jones get all the sponsors in the world, and Matt DiBenedetto can't find a single one. But you know, we're just
I don't think that.
I don't.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's a.
No, I don't think so either. But I'm just just being realistic here that we could be very wrong.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm sure we're gonna find out more soon. A bombshell will drop out of nowhere.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
I was about to say
tomorrow. Surely, for sure.
Next week we'll be recording. We'll be talking all about it.
Either that, or in like maybe 10 minutes after we're done recording, it'll just suddenly drop.
And we'll awkward like 9, 10, 15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time drop. But before that, I mentioned combined qualifying and practice possible for 2022. Not a huge thing, but it is something worth noting that I guess
practice
they could be combining them. Oh, it will. There's no way they won't. But I guess they want to combine it with qualifying, which is interesting. So I'm assuming that just means do it in the same session, and kind of.
It would be interesting, to say the least. Thinking like, let's say you have an hour and a half, one session. That's it, and your fastest practice lap is your qualifying lap.
Be interesting. A very unique way to do it.
I would also be very scared, about it, because let's say iRacing is somewhat realistic with how the cars are. It's gonna be like group qualifying when this package first came. The 550 package came out.
Yeah, I guess how that would kind of create group qualifying again, unless obviously we barely know anything. They might have some workaround that they're coming up.
We still don't even know what we're running in the next gen car
exactly.
Next year.
So it's something we're gonna have to keep an eye out for, because it would be interesting to see if they do that. The big teams
have the chassis now.
Yeah, the cars are being given to the teams now. They need to do whatever, get prepared. So
what I find interesting as well is in previous years, where every single year from NASCAR's beginning to 2019, practice and qualifying have been a thing, and then ever since NASCAR's gone on TV, pretty much it's been on TV. It's never really been a huge thing that everybody talks about, and it's never really been a huge thing for viewership. I bet if those come back next year, we see a huge spike in viewership for practice and qualifying, just because people are going to be aching to see it again, and people are going to be aching to see cars on track as much as possible again. I bet that all of a sudden we start seeing like half the race viewership viewing practice and qualifying, or at least qualifying, and we get an actual big viewership in that stuff, and Fox and NBC cream over it.
It's Formula One practice hits different than NASCAR practice. I'm like, I want to watch F1 practice.
No, I agree that I'm not going to be watching it, but like, there's a whole bunch of people who want to see it and want it back. So I mean,
I'll watch Daytona practice probably, but I'm not going to give a crap about other practices for the rest of the year.
I'm not saying what you would or wouldn't do. I'm just talking about the actual people, like the general population of NASCAR watchers, they all are clamoring for practice and qualifying to be back, and they want it so bad. I feel like the viewership for it would actually be a lot higher than it's ever been.
Better be.
Um. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what do we got
Huge.
here? Nitro, actually,
What we
was
do?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, boy.
Unless you guys had something else, real quick. I don't think there is anything. There was no F1 news again, so
No, literally.
I'm like,
nothing.
what the heck's going on here? Like, we're halfway
George
through the break.
Russell win,
Yeah, like they got what 10 days to do that.
and we had no NASCAR 21 news.
Yeah. And there was a screenshot of Michigan that I thought the car looked horrendous in, but just it looked really out of place. It's focused on Kyle Larson's car, and like
I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised that we've now.
Oh,
been a
there is
week-
F1 news. Today, Japan
better
got
be
canceled.
something good. Oh yeah, we know why. Shocker
Yeah,
there.
we know why. It is the rumor is a second coda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised with that either. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. But yeah, we saw that coming. I think the numbers were really going
Yeah.
up. They had a state of emergency over there too, for
Yeah.
the COVID stuff. So,
Oh.
what was it that we literally had mentioned just before that?
Mention?
Anyone remember? Not Nitro. It was something else.
I was starting to mention something, and now I can't remember what it
I
was
can't
because I
remember
started
either.
reading something else.
Yeah. Okay, Nitro.
Yeah, just go ahead with that.
Yeah, Nitro was on last weekend. The finale for Formula One was at Abu Dhabi. Andrew won the championship. Gail got second in the championship. No comment. There's a certain person that I was like, man, you come back for this race, and I get done by you twice. Anyways, Jay was ahead of me at some point. Where did you finish?
Sixth? Yeah, something like
Matt,
that.
you had to been up there in top 5, right?
Yeah, fifth.
Okay, 5th. There was a safety car at some point. Someone crashed.
Mahu doesn't have his wheel right now.
Yes.
He has not been enjoying. He has not been enjoying it, to say the least.
Yeah, but we had NASCAR at Road America on NASCAR Heat 5 for the Cup Series. Dominated. I was the fastest one there. Stage 1 and 2, easy wins. Stage 3, I was like, this is gonna get wild here. I got hit in turn 1, sent wide. Then I wrecked myself on the same lap, and I had to make up a lot of time. And I was very motivated in that final stage. I was like, I got to get back to Chaffee and end any chance he has at winning that race.
How did that go off? How did that
Got
work?
ahead of him. And then I was trying to run
wanted
you
to smack
down.
yourself?
Yeah, you were trying to stay out the whole thing. I took no tires. I took the splash of fuel, hauled the mail. And all it took was one little slip up, around I go. And after that, the tires were destroyed,
The
overheated.
Canadian wrecked in
Canada corner. And I saw Chaffee coming, and I tried to speed up as quick as I could. I was like, I got to punt him. And then I wrecked myself again. So I don't know if he knows how frustrated I was with him, but I was like, man, congrats to him on the win, though. I think he deserves to get a win again. One of the nicest guys there. But yeah, Matt, I was really hoping you were going to hang on there, but you were in the similar situation on tires and whatnot. So
if it tells you anything, I gave up 10 seconds to him on the last lap, basically, right?
Yeah.
I ran out at the line.
Yeah, so it wasn't going to work out either way at the end.
Yeah. Well, it worked out for me still technically because I finished second. I had no business
Yeah.
finishing second that race.
So Chaffee got into the next round with the win.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the final round before the final 4, right? Yeah, that's crazy how quick that's going. There's only 3 races left till the championship race.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna be back in 3 races.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing, right? Because I don't know if Gary's seen the grid. pretty tight all around.
It is. I mean, I'm the P1 apparently, I think.
Yeah,
But it's
you're
like there's
15.
nothing really to be comfortable about. So
Yeah, well, one bad stage 3 and oh boy.
I said that in my video. I was like, we're 15 above. I'm like, 1 week I'll be below the cut line if it all went wrong. So,
Yeah.
and in the Nitro League, it is very easy for a race to go completely wrong, no matter how good you are.
Yes, it is.
So, what
this
tracks
is
do
the
we have?
interesting-
Yeah,
Las Vegas,
I'm confident there.
Martinsville.
Don't know.
Yeah, I
Not after earlier this season.
yeah.
Usually I'm like, oh yeah, easy win, but no, not
And
anymore.
then Talladega.
Oh. So my goal is
Yeah.
to win Las Vegas. The last time I did a race there, I won on a restart against Jay. Was actually in the mix for that.
Yeah.
So I've got to do that again.
I don't think anyone wants to go into Talladega knowing that someone can just win and knock you
I've been
out.
eliminated there before.
Don't worry, I have every intention to go to Talladega and win that race. And keep
Jay,
some
you
of
should
you
show
from
up for
winning.
Talladega. Was that the
I
one you
am,
said
that's
you
what
were?
I
Okay.
just said. That's
Okay.
what I just
I
said.
thought you meant for the finale, but
So I got a good question, Jay.
What's that?
If I have to win the race and you're second, what are you doing?
I have not made my decision on that, to be honest. At one moment, I tell myself I'll easily pull out of the way, but the other moment, I'm like, will I actually, though? So I don't really know.
at this point, I want to win as many as I can.
Well,
But if I
let's
won
say-
Vegas, I'd help you.
It's going to be situational, I guess, depending on who is behind.
That's the
me
thing.
and,
That's
like,
the interesting
if you need
thing.
a win to get in, you know, it's like.
Well, that's the interesting
will
thing
I
with
do?
this. We've never. Imagine like everyone be like 5 points away from each other. That Dega race will be insane. The tensions will be high.
Content.
I think we will legitimately will not see.
Is this how you
a
break
single file.
JGR at a play track? You have to make them battle for the final four
If
spots.
if I win at Vegas, it makes it a little bit easier for you guys because then you got me guaranteed to help.
Or I mean, if you get if you get a really good points race too, right? Because you got 15 points. Let's say you increase it to 25, right? And like if
Well,
you're
yeah, if I go
25 going into
in-
Dega,
Yeah, like if I have like a gap like that, then I'm not focused on winning. You know, I'm just focused on doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
and see what
Let everything
if
else
we can
play
get-
out.
I mean,
Try to
basically, the
get
way I can
everyone.
guarantee it is if I wind up in the lead and say Karma or Gary's behind me, and they either one of them needs a win to get in, then I probably won't battle them because I don't want to be a guy who showed up for one race out of like the last 10 and ends their season. So I'd probably pull out of the way. But like if you're behind me and you don't need a win to get in, then I'm probably still going to go for it. Whatever happens, happens.
I look at the
Yeah.
wild card for me as Martinsville.
Yeah,
I
Like,
think that is actually.
I think we
legitimate
know
wild card.
what not to use this time. We ran we ran the wrong preset.
No,
like,
wait. No, it wasn't really the preset. It was the adjustments. We just put in so much wedge. Just like, the theory would be, on the long run we'll be so fast because
yeah, I remember I couldn't turn to save
But-
my life.
Yeah, I kind of learned, and especially after Bristol, because I had the same mentality about Bristol. Is like, you just have to fight through it.
Yeah, I mean it worked great for us there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Martinsville
Martinsville
was
is like
something else.
Martinsville looseness is a whole different level than
It's horrendous.
Bristol. it's the track's actually honestly god awful. On NASCAR heat, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be real.
No, it's
I
not
mean,
good.
it's great on iRacing. It's amazing on iRacing. But NASCAR heat, nah, not it, not it, Chief.
Vegas,
um,
Martinsville, Talladega. It's gonna be interesting. The last two guarantee it'll be interesting, especially if maybe like two guys are up front going for a win to get in. If I find myself up front, I mean, I showed what I'd do in the regular season. So
Man, you want to know what's gonna kick everything? If someone outside the cutoff wins, because like the top four is you, Jonathan, Andrew, and Mahu,
Yeah.
which I would say has been the four fastest all season. If like I win or Combat wins, one of you guys ain't making it.
I know that's why I'm like, I'm looking at Vegas. I'm like, I gotta win that. I'm just hopeful we go to Martinsville and you're leading, and I'm second. I've been waiting. for that
I
Road
don't- on
America.
this
It
game,
was building up, and I'm like, oh my god, this might be the moment.
I honestly, but the thing is like I knew I couldn't fight you. Like before you spun out, like I knew I had no chance. I
Yeah.
would just have to let you go. Well, here's the thing: is that I'm trash at Martinsville in this game, so.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait till
But I was trash
NASCAR
at Bristol
21.
too, so I guess.
You never know. There was iRacing too Sunday night. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
How was it, Matt?
It was a race.
How many were there?
Not enough.
What track? Darlington. Yeah. Oof.
What's wrong with Darlington?
No, just the thought of so few people at Darlington. That would be miserable.
I don't know what to do, dude.
Did you win?
No.
Oh. Oh.
I made too many mistakes.
I was like, I wonder why this is an issue. Is it the marketing of the league that, like, do we have to add an incentive? Like, Gary will give you a shout out in a video.
Well, Combat was. I'm gonna call him out in chat a little bitch because he's like, the setup sucks, and he left. Setup didn't suck. It's just the track has no grip. This is Darlington, man.
But how are we gonna get more people? Or not more people, but get people to show up. Like, I don't know. It's tough with iRacing.
And it's like, you've done videos, we've done Twitter posts, we've done all this stuff, and
We have made the effort to try and make it happen.
I feel like you need to get away from trying to get Gary's community into iRacing, because I feel like NASCAR Heat's one thing, but trying to get people from Gary's community in for iRacing, sorry, is probably like a whole different animal that's not going to work out that well.
Well, yeah, here's the thing: there's 36 people on the roster, and only
there's 36
on a good. Yeah, there's 36 on the roster, and eight people show up. Eight on a good day show up.
I think that you need to find some, like, maybe subreddit or forum or something to get people and not do it from like a YouTube video. I think if you found an actual like forum or subreddit with people actually looking for leagues and stuff, that's where you'd get people who'd want to show up and be there for every race and all that.
But we're kind of stuck in a never-ending cycle where people are gonna see the league. Oh, only 8 people race. I'm not racing that. It's a never-ending cycle.
Well, if you get new people in that actually show up, then you won't really be in that cycle anymore. That's what I'm saying. I think if you get committed people who actually want to be on iRacing and are looking for iRacing leagues, then, you know, like, you'd be able to find somebody that way. You get people to show up.
I think as well, I was like thinking, like, what is PSES doing that's getting all these people to show up every time?
Well, they have a big broadcast.
That's exactly where I was going with that.
Watch and all that kind of stuff.
The broadcast would definitely. That's another thing. There's an incentive to race.
Yeah, that too.
When it comes to sim racing, it's a lot more difficult than just slapping on your arcade NASCAR Heat 5 and showing up for 45 minutes to go around.
Yeah, people actually want to do it kind of competitively.
Yeah, iRacing
for money and all that kind of stuff.
iRacing is miserable. Okay, the car is hard to drive, and
that's kind of what I wanted to say. Like, I feel like people just don't enjoy it. That's why they're not showing.
You got to fight the car the whole time, and I'm like, oh my god, why am I doing this? And then there's got to be an incentive there. Okay, you bring in money. That's gonna do it. A broadcast. People have it in.
It's not like any of us have the funding to. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a bottomless bank here.
How much does PSES offer?
I'm not too sure, but I'm sure it's not just like $5.
Like money, what do they pay? Do they pay the winners or the champion of the series?
I don't think so.
Okay, so then it's all the broadcast.
Well, yeah, it's probably just the broadcast and the popularity of the series.
If people see they can get on a broadcast, it's weird.
Thing, you know, that
but you want to know what the never-ending cycle is? Who the fuck's gonna broadcast a race with 6 people?
Well, that's why we market the crap out of it, saying this is going to be broadcasted all season long before the season starts. Okay, because I mean,
Which again, that goes along with something that me and Gary have been talking about for the Heat side. We could do that for iRacing.
If
as well. I just
Jay
gotta get
gets
a position
his,
where I can.
yeah, if you get your PC set up, we broadcast those races. I'd
Yeah.
gladly pull a lot of iRacing
I'd
in a heartbeat from the
100%.
driving side.
Oh, I'd be more willing to do iRacing commentary than I would NASCAR.
Well, yeah, I mean the
NASCAR
system's so
Ignition
good
now,
with
but
the and
yeah,
whatnot.
and yeah. So I'd be willing to do that too if I can get it set up right. But it's also not like at the moment I have a huge following. Gary does. He'd be able to get
Oh,
some,
we could make it
some
happen.
viewership into it as well. But at the moment, I got a following that I need to build up. So I wouldn't bring a whole lot of attraction to it, but Gary certainly could.
I can't. I don't. My following.
Yeah, that's true. You have a pretty good one as well. So
What I think
No, I
you
don't.
do is, I
Well,
mean, I think your YouTube's doing better than the Twitch right now.
I mean,
and for your size on Twitch as well, you get a decent amount of viewership pretty
Yeah,
much
I
every
know.
stream you do. So
Especially
I
the Heat 5.
yes,
Yeah,
people
like
are
E5.
people like your Nitro stuff a lot.
But I mean, you're at 147 subscribers on YouTube now. 37 views on your last video. Compared to like 6 months ago, what were you doing? Oh, you're getting 30, 12, 43, 15, 16. And that's 6 months ago. And 3 days ago, you
Yeah.
had 37.
And also, I don't know. I don't know why my NAS road course, Indy road course.
I saw that one. I was like, oh, okay.
For
looking pretty
iRacing,
good.
it's like it's popping off for some reason.
I
Oh,
think
you wanna know
Indy
what's the
road
funny
course
thing?
in general is a clickbaity thing right now.
Also another thing, it's like the thumbnail's terrible on it. I literally forgot to get
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, what the heck was that?
All right. So this was what happened. I forgot to get a thumbnail, and I was like, I was going through my stream looking for like anything that could work for it, and that was like the only thing that could.
Oh,
work
I
for
see your webcam too in the corner.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this is the only thing that can actually work with this.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
I always forgot when I first started doing it.
Yeah, well, you saw the one I got for the MIS one. That's a good.
Oh yeah,
that's a good
that'll
one.
do that could do good. I'll try to spice it up.
I was behind. I'm one of the cars that like coming to the line. Actually, I'm the car like coming to the line, the orange, white, and black one. So that was in front of me. I was like, oh no.
I haven't done an NIS in a long time.
Yeah.
I kind of fell out
I mean,
of it.
it's just hard. It's not. Also for you, it's like there's never a time for you to do it.
Yeah,
Like, all right, you got Wednesday at 5 p.m.
which usually I just got home from work and I have to do a YouTube thing.
Yeah. Tomorrow at 9.
Yeah, I'm
You usually
available
do
at
stuff-
that one, but
But are you gonna spot for me tomorrow?
oh, you got PSES, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably be there.
I know you work Saturdays, and there's one at Saturday at noon.
Yeah, I'd never have a chance for that.
Yeah, and then there's one Sunday night, but that's when Nitro is.
And usually I'm
like-
either doing that or not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
Where is Nitro going this weekend for everything? F1's done,
Well,
actually.
obviously-
So
For till the 4th of September. I won't be there.
okay.
Oh, I highly doubt I make it from the racetrack back home in time for it. Saying it's a 3 p.m. start. ISS. The meme track itself, Gary.
Oh. Okay.
5 people,
Fun.
the
I'll
joys.
be there.
Oh.
I'll be there.
Please.
It's a play track in my eyes. I'll be there.
What those 6 people?
I love my plate racing no matter what.
Yeah.
And then Heat 5 we go to Vegas.
Yep.
And wait, so you're not gonna be at the iRacing one?
No.
Oh, you know
I
what?
think-
Maybe I won't be there. We'll see. I'll be honest, you're not there. I have very little interest, but we'll see. It depends on who's all there.
I think Chaffee will be in charge, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
I guess all we have is predictions for this weekend.
Yeah.
Where are we? Michigan. Matt's going to be at the race.
Oh boy.
But there's new COVID protocols in place.
Yeah.
But we're not going to dive into that.
My dad
So
was like, my dad, anyways, was like, I don't want to go early. Anyways, so I'm like, doesn't
whatever
really bother
works.
me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch the damn race, man.
So we have no F1 again. Yeah, it's just NASCAR to predict on, which means I need to bring up the number generator. Jay's been getting first pick like every single week.
Just about every week, yeah.
So we're gonna look
And
at this. I'm 1, Jay's 2, Matt is 3. So we are gonna hit go. Oh, look at this! Matt
Gary's
gets to
first.
choose first.
Have you ever
Alright.
gotten the first choice, Gary? I
No,
don't think you have.
no.
All right. This is the week. I think this is the week it finally happens. Denny Hamlin.
Bold. I respect it. Okay. Denny Hamlin. All right, go. Oh, look at that. It's Jay.
I'm gonna be honest. I got no idea who I want to pick. I mean, my mind wants to tell me Larson, but like, I don't know. Uh, Kyle Larson.
Oh, all right. My mind says whatever car gets out front on the final restart,
Yeah.
because you ain't passing
Correct
them.
answer.
Phew. Let me think. I'm gonna say I don't think it's gonna be a Toyota. If it is a Toyota, of course I want Denny. Daniel Suarez is not gonna be a threat.
Yeah, there's no shot.
Hey man, all you have to do is stay out on the last stop, man, and just hope
I
to
mean,
clear them.
if you can stay ahead, I mean, all you got to do is just give them the dirty air, and you're fine. But
The dirty air,
I
baby.
am going to say, I'm going to go for like a curveball here. William Byron.
I don't think that's that much of a curveball, to be honest. I think it's either like Hamlin, Kyle Busch, or Hendrick at this point.
So Matt has Hamlin, Jay has Larson, I have Byron.
Have you actually been keeping like track of who is successful each week, and or do we
I usually
decide not
keep
to do that
forgetting.
this year? Okay, I couldn't remember if we actually decided to keep track
I think
this year, or if that was
starting
something we decided
playoffs,
for next
we'll
year.
really like dive into that, because I mean we came up with it on the fly halfway through the year.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun episode when we get there in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, starting playoffs, we'll dive right into it and be like, okay, a notepad.
Grid
and,
time, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna
Grid
do it.
time,
Yeah, we're
baby.
gonna after Daytona, going into playoff week, we're gonna go through our own. Everyone has their own playoff grid. We're gonna do a whole thing, give our reasons why we think each driver's getting eliminated here and there, and why we think a certain guy is moving on and win the championship, etc., etc.
I was gonna say we could maybe make that episode primarily about playoff predictions in the playoffs.
I think
that's
we
also,
could.
I think, the week
Well,
that F1 returns.
yeah,
So there'll be at least some other stuff to talk about too. But
it'll be a lengthy episode.
yeah.
Well, we somehow made talking about
This
Indianapolis.
episode, yeah,
This is our longest
2
one.
hours.
Yeah, 100%. I was looking at the time. I'm like, oh my god, this is going long here.
We've been going for 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that pretty much wraps it up there. So this weekend, Michigan could have something crazy to talk about. You never know. Maybe if some field strategy comes into play and we get a surprise winner or something. We'll have to wait and see. But only 2 races are left in the regular season. Hopefully there's some F1 news or some silly season NASCAR news or something next week. We'll have to wait and see. But if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. We have made it to episode number 30. That is 30 weeks that we have done this, which is already crazy to think we've gotten that far.
Does not feel like 30 at all.
No, it doesn't.
No, like maybe 12, if that.
That means it's fun.
Yes, I mean it is nice to kind of sit down for a couple hours and express my feelings
Examine
about
everything
NASCAR.
racing.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. We appreciate you guys listening on any platform, YouTube, Spotify, Matt's stream, Jay's stream, anything. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. We will see you guys next week after the Michigan race. Have a great night, everybody.